That was Tom?
That was Tom.
Okay, all right, we're gonna call the
You got a roll call.
Monday, February 2nd, Select Board meeting to order. We'll do a roll call vote. We'll start with Tom Myers,
Tom Myers here.
Ben,
Ben here.
and Bill Olson's here. We should be joined remotely by Rosemary and Bill Wilson, and we'll just Joe, let me know when they get on.
Yeah.
A lot to go over today, so let's jump into things. Board and committee opens, a plethora of openings, lots of opportunities to get involved. So I'm going to read these out. Affordable Housing Trust has one opening. Conservation Commission has 2 openings. Community Preservation Committee has 2 openings. 1 opening for a member of Historic District Commission, and 1 opening for an at-large member. Council on Aging has 1 opening. The Essex North Shore Agricultural Technical School Committee has 1 opening, and that is appointed through the moderator. FinCom has 2 openings, also through the moderator. The Hamilton Environmental Impact Committee has 2 openings, and I think we're going to be discussing one tonight.
Yep.
One of those 2, or is that how that works?
One of those 2.
One of those 2. Historic District Commission has 2 openings for 3-year terms, 2 openings for 2-year terms, and 1 of those must be a resident of the historic district, and 1 must be a resident realtor. Hamilton Wenham Recreation Board has 1 opening for a Hamilton resident, and the Human Rights Commission has 1 at-large opening.
And Rosemary joined at 7:02.
And Rosemary, just say you're here. So even though you can hear us, we can hear you.
Rosie, you're muted. Can you? There you are.
Rosie Kennedy here.
Thank you. Good to see you. Public comment. We got a lot to do tonight, so there'll be some opportunities throughout the meeting to talk, but we'll open it up now. If anybody wants to take a maximum of 3 minutes to speak, where should they speak, Joe?
At the black tip.
Right here at the table?
Yeah.
Come on up to the black table.
That's the microphone.
Yeah, it'll
Yeah,
pick you
that'll
up,
pick
though.
everything.
It'll pick you up.
You'll get me?
Yeah.
Okay. My name's Emmett Holt, 2 Manor Hill Road, and I'm back tonight to speak to you on behalf of the Environmental Impact Committee. This is my 4th time in front of you guys, and I think it was this meeting last year that I kind of kicked it off in February. Hoping to do it last year, but anyhow, I'm here, to talk to you about, climate leader certification, the specialized stretched energy code, and getting that on the town meeting warrant for the voters to decide whether they want it or not. Now, the urgency is not certification, it's a new roof on the high school and the middle school. It's the biggest opportunity that facility is the biggest has the biggest environmental impact of any facility in the town of Hamilton. And so it's a real opportunity when we're going to put the new roof on it, which will be staged for electrification, to do it at the same time. Solar panels have a 25-year warranty like the roof does, so I mean it's a long-term investment, and that is really the urgency. And our board and the Wenham Cask has already gotten approval from the Wenham Cask has gotten approval from their select board to proceed.
So it'll be on their town warrant?
So they're doing everything to get it on their warrant.
Okay.
Correct. And they've been given that authorization. And when I was here last month and Ann Patel was presenting, it was really, hold it, we're not sure where we're going. So now we're stuck in neutral, and I need you guys to give the authorization of either go forward or don't go forward to do that. And so we're not asking you guys to make the decision of whether you want to go through the details. I sent everybody an email mid-afternoon today with the analysis that I did to follow up on the affordability discussion,
Right.
And that seemed to be the concern. And I've met with Rich Maloney, Dennis Kern, and Mary Ellen at the building committee, and have the detail of the 15 houses that were built over the last 3 years and what the impact would be to those houses.
Okay.
And there has been a little bit of confusion with me too, that solar is required under and over the 4,000 square foot, it's just the size, unless trees obstruct it. So plant a tree, build your house under a tree if you don't want solar, that's fine. But the good news is, in the analysis, all the new costs are totally covered and offset by the solar that gets put on the house. So it's a cheaper, when you amortize the investment, it's cheaper. So,
Sorry, can we do a quick question?
We're gonna talk about this during the warrant article, which is they're not numbered here, but like
Right.
the six topics, I think we can wait for that
All right.
discussion.
That's fine. Are you able to stick around a little bit?
I'd be happy to, well, that's my last thing.
Okay.
With the email, I'd encourage one-on-one, to come back, whatever we can do to give you guys some information.
I made note that we're talking, yeah, because Joe and I talked, we have the review draft proposed warrant articles, so we're gonna talk about that because right now it's in the draft as a warrant article. So we haven't removed it, it's currently in there, okay?
All
As a
right.
draft, okay? So it's on our topic to talk about tonight.
Thanks.
All right,
Great,
thank you very much.
thank you.
Selectman Wilson joined at 7:06 PM.
And I'll comment how I appreciate these chairs. These are
All right,
nice.
comfy.
We knew it was
Public
gonna be a
comment?
long meeting, I tried to make him
There you
comfortable.
go, thank you.
Hello, my name's Jeannie Moran at 21 Garfield Avenue, and the current chair of HEIC, Hamilton Environmental Impact Committee. So I'm here tonight probably because hopefully we'll be appointing Jack Gideon to the committee. I'm thrilled to have him on. It's a great experience of a whole career in alternative energy. But I'm also following up on what Emmett has just said, that our committee exists, kind of remind people, it exists to advise the select board as we work toward Hamilton's goal of net zero carbon by 2040. You might remember that the town voted for this in the final resolution of April 2022 at our town meeting. And this is 10 years faster than the Massachusetts goal, which is net zero carbon by 2050. So you see, the whole state is on the same track. We're all going the same place. Hamilton, as a climate leader, chose to go faster. So we are a climate leader. If you think about our composting program, it's been in place for way over 10 years. I was one of the original people that paid $75 so that we could have our compost picked up. And what's great about that, it's not only wonderful for the environment to get all this compost, back to the earth and have healthy soil, but it saves us money. Because, at least in the past, composting was half of what the trash was being picked up by Casella, etc. So we also believe that becoming climate leader status, which is what we're focusing on, hoping to apply June 30th, which if we get accepted, we have to wait till February to apply for the $1 million grant. So there is a timing that's going on this because the money is set to last through 2027. We don't know, how much after that. So again, one more example, of course, Joe's well aware, you're all aware that our historic town hall will be carbon-free when it reopens this year. And this is very exciting because we are one of the first again in Massachusetts to do this. So we want to apply for this climate leader status. We've done all the necessary work. We just need two little things. EV first, which does not mean we have to have all electric vehicles for the town. It means that we first look at the electric vehicle and see if it would work for us. If it's a fire truck we're buying, no. We don't even have EV fire trucks, at least from my knowledge. So you look at, is this gonna work? Is it a car that's used just from 9 to 5 during the day? Yeah, that might make sense. And then the other one is to adopt a specialized code, and that's what we're going to be talking about for the warrant. And my plea is that regardless of your own personal feelings about whether you need the specialized code or not, allow the voters of Hamilton to make that decision. So if it's on the warrant, it can be out there in front of them, and they can vote yes or no. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you for coming.
Thanks, Gene. There are no members of
Anybody
the
else?
public on the, no members of the public on this issue, so.
Okay. All right, we have a small consent, small consent agenda. We have meeting minutes from January 5th. We have the request for the funding for FHCOA, which we did last year, which went out with the water bill. And they said they would like to repeat that effort because it actually, I think it says it raised them like 5,000. I don't know if it's one donation or 50 donations, but it was.
Several donations.
But it was a nice way to raise money. Had no cost to them. And then someone has given us a $100 gift for the Hamilton Council on Aging, so we have to vote to accept that. So I'll take a motion and we can have further discussion. Everybody want to make a motion to approve the consent agenda?
Make a motion to.
Sure, I move that we approve the consent agenda.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Second. Any further discussion?
Did we get on the gift piece? I saw there was like an email in the packet.
It's up to the discretion of the Council on Aging, how they want to spend it, but it's for improvement or, enhancements at the Council on Aging.
Okay. And there was no, did they have to do any paperwork or something like that?
You have to accept the gift.
That's it. That's the paperwork. All right.
We might create more paperwork if they're very, very large gifts, but like for $100.
All right, cool.
And do we have a policy that, might say 100 or less, you don't need to get select board approval, or does everything need to come to this board?
We feel like the policy we've been going by is that, we bring it to the select board. If it's an amount under, say, $1,000, we might suggest that we put it on the consent agenda like we're doing, so you don't have to have a whole lot of conversation about it. And if it was a bigger donation, we'd have them come in and have a presentation, et cetera, but.
Okay.
No, that's great.
All right. Thanks.
We'll do a roll call vote. We'll start online with Tom Myers.
Tom Myers, aye.
Rosemary.
Rosie Kennedy, aye.
Bill Wilson.
Bill Wilson, aye.
Ben Galusa.
Ben goes aye.
And William Olson, aye. So good to have everybody here tonight. In step, lock and step. All right, so next item on the agenda is we have a poll. We have 3 poll hearings.
2 poll hearings.
Two poll hearings and
One
one
underground.
One underground, okay. And we have a representative from National Grid here. So you have a seat up here and walk us through what you'd like to have us approve tonight.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Michael Kazadi, and I'm representing National Grid at 44 River Street in Beverly. And yeah, so on the first petition, which is T1 on Highland Street, we're petitioning to install 1 3-inch conduit from the existing pole 2309 and running about 2 feet into the property of 951 Highland Street.
I'll give you a prompt, you can pull the map up, but it's this map right here.
Yep.
It's actually the last one in the packet.
Yeah, okay.
And this is for what? What is the purpose of this one?
It's just for a service upgrade.
Service upgrade, okay.
Come on.
And so any aesthetic impact anybody, or is this all just underground, you don't see any of it?
It's just underground, yeah. Just like off the pole.
And this is for the resident of 951?
Correct. Yeah.
Okay.
To cross any sidewalks or things like that.
So it's on the sidewalk, so the pole is like 2 feet off his property, so it's only about 2 feet.
Okay, so you're not going under the sidewalk, it's on their side of the sidewalk.
Yeah, it's on the side, yeah.
Okay, great.
This one here?
Nope, nope, this one. Highland, Walden Field.
Oh,
Go down
why
to
did
the third.
I get
Keep
them in
it to the last
backward?
one.
Got them in the
Go
wrong
third-
order. Sorry
third
about
Well,
that.
yeah.
Sorry about that, everybody.
Keep going.
Underground one.
We'll do the underground first. Right there.
There you
So the
go.
dotted line is the new work. Okay. There's anything else that
Oh,
we
we're
need
doing the
to,
underground first. I get
Yeah.
it. Okay, gotcha.
anything else that we need to review? This one seems pretty simple.
You just have to see if there's anybody in the public that has comment. It's a public hearing, so. Doesn't look like there's anybody from the public that has comment.
So it looks like 33 Waldingfield Road is an abutter, but 35 Waldingfield Road is the applicant, so they're obviously not an abutter. All right, yeah, is there any abutters that have any comments, questions? All right.
No.
So, do we do each one separately, Joe?
Yeah, yes, I would
Okay.
have both.
So I'd have a motion to accept I'd read it correctly. So should I read it as in terms of this number right here?
Yeah.
And what does WR stand for?
Work request.
Do I have a motion to accept and approve work request 312-59512 near Waldingfield Road and 951 Highland Street for new underground service?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second?
Any further discussion or questions?
Seems straightforward.
Okay. So do roll call vote. We'll start with Tom Myers. know he's picking up his kid, so.
Yeah.
We'll go Rosemary,
Rosie Kennedy, aye.
Bill Wilson.
Bill Wilson,
Bob
aye.
Myers, aye. Sorry.
No, that's fine. Thank you.
Ben goes aye.
William Olson, aye. Okay, so we have 5 ayes.
Yep.
All right. Which one do you want to do next?
We can do the 82 Highland Street.
Okay.
And, yeah, so for this one, we are petitioning to install the new stub pole to replace, so the property of 82 Burns, we're getting rid of our tree guy wire because he needs to get rid of that tree, so we're gonna install a new stub pole and install a guy-to-guy pole to support our existing pole line.
Okay.
So it's a new pole,
Yes,
but the pole is only going to be providing support.
yes.
There's going to be no wires in the port other than the guide wire.
That the new stub pole doesn't have a guy off of it to the ground. It's only just
Oh,
straight.
no, sorry, yes, it does.
Okay.
That's not how that was.
So it's another pole, another wire. And what resident is removing a tree?
82, I think it's 82 Highland Street, sorry.
Okay, so they're getting rid of a tree,
Yep.
but adding a pole, basically,
Pretty much, yeah.
because the pole's going to be where the tree was.
It's gonna be on, the pole's gonna be on public property,
But it's going to be, but in place of a tree, it's going to be a pole.
yes.
I mean, so yeah. I mean, I don't know that you have much of an option.
Right.
Because it's not really, they're not replacing a pole, they're just getting rid of a tree, which is holding up a pole.
Yep.
Are there any butters here for that? A lot more butters on that one.
Does not appear to be any order butters. Present.
Live down that way?
What was that, sorry?
I was asking Bill Wilson, do you live down that way?
No. Nope.
Okay. I'll make a motion for, so do I have a motion to approve job order, right?
Yep.
3122-7793.
Nope.
No, the other one.
Oh, sorry.
8965.
Job order 3122-8965 at Durham Ave and Highland Street.
Not so moved.
Specifically for 81,
Moved by Bill Wilson.
82, sorry, 82 Highland Street. Moved by, okay, do I have a second?
Second.
Just a quick question, why are some job orders versus a work release?
So,
What's the difference between a job order and a work release? Your
Oh,
numbering
WR and
system.
J.
WR, it should be, it's the same thing.
It is?
Yeah, it's the same thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just got coded one way in the system, that's all.
Let's do the cost.
Potentially, yeah.
Okay. You got a
More
motion
typos,
and a
I
second.
would think.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just reading everything, make sure I have any more
Is
questions.
this underground and that's poles? or-
Yeah, yeah. Alright. Third one?
Yeah, we didn't vote.
We didn't vote yet.
Oh,
He's making sure he doesn't have any other last minute questions.
All right, so just roll call vote.
Roll
We'll
call
go, Tom Myers,
You might want to start with
Rosemary,
Rosie Kennedy, aye.
Tom,
Bob Myers, aye.
Bill Wilson,
Bill Wilson, aye.
Ben,
Ben goes aye.
and William Olson, aye. All right, and the last one is 40 Asbury Street.
So for this one, we are petitioning to install the new pole between the existing poles, 585 and 584. So that new pole is gonna be used to install the load break, which is just a safety device that reduces outages, or helps reduce outages.
So the new pole with the X on it is the one that's gonna have the load break?
Yes.
Got it.
So there's no pole there currently?
No.
I mean, once again, we're not a town that likes to add poles, so there's no way to add that low break on an existing pole.
So so pole 584 has an existing primary siphon, so there's no room to install a low break. And 585 already has another device on it. I'm not really sure what it was, but there's no room to install a low break on there either. That was kind of on the option.
And how far apart are those two poles? 40 feet, does that say?
Yeah. 40 feet between 584 and 584.5, and 50 feet, it looks like, between the new pole and the 585.
I'm sorry, why is the technology or the need changed to add something that is not needed now?
Well, so our planning engineer he's usually tasked to see where I guess more of the outages are happening, and you just you try to find a way to reduce outages, and he found this spot to be a great spot to put that device, I guess, which will help reduce outages.
So it reduces outages. Although we haven't had a lot of outages, we've actually been doing pretty well over the last.
Largely because we're letting them do their work.
There you go.
So not a good thing to say no to.
Well, if you correct me if I'm wrong, what happens is, you know, if you don't have a load break, then when a certain wire goes down, a whole area's out. With a load break, you can switch it and then backfill power from another part of the grid to the part from the break forward, so you turn other people back on sooner while you're still fixing the down wire. See, I nailed that.
Yeah, man.
So Tim, this happens to be near, you know, your parking lot for Ed Patton. Do you have any comments or concerns about adding a pole?
They're just in the same line. It's in the same line of the other two poles.
Won't be an issue.
There's nothing buried there.
Oh, no,
Right.
yeah, in case they go out and check.
Yeah.
All right, do I have a motion to approve job order 312-27793 at 40 Asbury Street?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? Hey, what's
Just have a question.
Yeah, go, please, yes, go ahead, Rosemary.
Just quickly, so I'm presuming all the abutters have been notified here and have no issues with it?
Yeah, there's no butters here that have commented, and I'm looking at the butters list for the one we're talking about right now. And,
Yeah.
It's mostly commercial, Rosie. There's no, it's right in front of Patton Park, the parking lot on Asbury Street at Patton Park, and then the business is across the street, so there's no residents that would be.
yeah, there are no butters on this one.
Okay,
Yeah, this one has no butters listed. Is that correct?
I think the 308 past the park. And,
Yeah.
340.
hard to hear.
Yeah,
There's no residential butters on this proposal,
Okay,
because they're far
Thank
enough
you.
away. Seems like.
the closest one is 89 Asbury, which is on the other side.
Other side of the tracks, yeah.
And they've got the.
Yeah, like I said, on the record, I'm not in favor of adding poles, but it sounds like if this is to prevent outages and it's in a commercial area of town and our DPW director doesn't have an issue with it, I would say I would approve it then. So, just going on record saying that, but we'll do a roll call vote. I'll start with Tom. Sorry,
You're on mute, Tom.
it didn't pick you up.
You're on mute. There you go.
Tom Myers, aye.
There we go.
Rosemary,
Rosie Kennedy, aye.
Bill Wilson.
Yeah, Bill Wilson, and you said it reduces outages. I don't know if there's a plan that maybe suggests other areas or town are higher prone to outages. That'd be good information to give us, you know, for other areas you might come back later to look at. But aye on this for sure, Bill Wilson.
Bengals, aye.
William Wilson, aye. Are there any more, like you said, good
Yeah,
question, is there any
it'd be
more
good to get a
poll here?
plan.
If we had now a few this year, is there any more, like, that we're aware of, like, how far ahead of these things start getting planned before we hear about them?
Yeah, if there's a study, Joe, let's try to get our hands on it.
Okay, I'll talk to, Jim, what's the name of our new rep at National Grid? It's not Faith anymore. Right. Elaine, we'll reach out to Elaine and see if she can get us a look at the plan. Sounds good. Okay,
You are all set. And you
Appreciate
sign
you coming
something
in.
for
Thank
you?
you.
Thank you,
Do I
Michael.
sign this, do I have to sign this now, or? I have this line here to sign, but I'm not sure who
No, we'll get it signed later. Don't worry
to
about
sign
it.
later, okay, all right.
I'm not sure where I'm at.
All right.
I was thinking Asbury in my head, but when you ask, I'm not sure if that's how close or not that.
We will move on
I know I said
to
no right away, but yeah.
Mr.
In my
Tim
head-
Olson on
in my
his,
head, I was reading Asbury Street, so I said no, but then I went, oh,
department head report.
but I don't recognize.
And town hall report, and how's the snow removal going?
Let's one over.
Snow and ice. How's our snow and ice
Yeah,
budget?
no Highland. but,
Well, you know where Linden is?
Yeah.
right? And then Moynihan's one up.
Yeah, but I didn't know, yeah, I know, yeah, that's maybe,
So it's just at that
yeah, but
intersection
where's
there.
Durham?
It's good.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Durham Town, by
So the mic is over here for Rosemary, and people have to just speak sort of a little loud and clearly just so the mic picks you up, but it should pick you up.
been DPW director here in Hamilton, here to answer questions, give you guys a report on town hall, talk water rates, all the good stuff. So happy to answer. We can, you know, if you have any questions as I go, definitely ask and I'll give you. Yeah.
Awesome.
Do you want us to ask questions, or do you have a prepared,
I'm sure you guys have questions, so.
if you're
I didn't
prepared?
prepare anything, but
Okay.
I can go run down a lot of the key projects that we're working on. You know, Town Hall is obviously the number one on my list right now. I did give Joe, I'm not sure if you have some pictures. That,
Oh, I left them in my car, I'm
It's all
sorry.
right. I'll send you some pictures of updating where we're at. We're inside, pretty much finished with the final finished trim. They just took off the flooring, so they're down to the hardwood. Getting ready to strip the hardwood. And
You're refinishing it?
refinish the hardwood, correct. It's, I believe it's like a Doug fir. It's beautiful. It was just covered over for several years. With board, and then like a linoleum, matte linoleum, and then nice
Stacking it up,
carpeting.
right.
So you'll see it's a lot. There's a lot of character in the floor. I think it's going to be really
Wow.
nice when it's finished.
All right.
It's so
Nice.
big.
Yeah.
And the upstairs, I think that's the picture that Joe was showing. That's the meeting
Not
room
working.
upstairs.
Yep.
Where is
Now with the carpet squares removed, so that floor will be refinished as well. And it's gonna really complement the room.
So it's a little bit hard to see, but it's that's the original floor that was underneath what used to be the upstairs offices, and that'll be the new meeting room floor.
It's pretty much a gym floor. That's kind of what
Yeah.
it looks like to
Old-
me.
old basketball
It's
floor.
probably what it was back in the day.
The dance floor.
Dance floor,
Dance.
yep.
Dance floor, that's right. So that, the project's progressing. We are working, almost done with the geothermal system in the basement. And getting ready for inside floors, then final painting, acoustical ceiling, the grid's all in, HVAC is all in. And then they're getting out into the addition now and finishing the roughing of all the electricity, or electrical systems and things like that. So I think we were shooting for February. I think we're probably a few months out on that. But I think the goal was to get everybody back in the springtime. And I think we're gonna hit that. We're pushing for that. Like to be in by May. It's a goal, and I think we're gonna.
That was always my goal, was May
keep
anyway,
pushing.
so.
So
Still waiting on power?
still waiting on power. There's a couple of weeks now of holidays and now weather and things like that. I think, talking with the contractor, we'll discuss that a little bit more, but it's really in their court now to get the power, the conduits put in.
Okay.
National Grid has put the new pole in. They're got power to the new pole.
All right.
So once the conduits are in and transformer pad set, then they can come in with the power.
All right. So you said HVAC is in, but it's not, I'm assuming it's not filled, like you haven't kind of
Correct.
flushed and filled?
All the systems will be in place, waiting for power.
Okay.
So that's kind of, the next milestone.
Okay.
To get the power in there. So, outside, that site work's gonna have to happen, springtime, first of in spring. The
They have,
plants-
for like the
asphalt.
HVAC with the geothermal, I'm assuming it's kind of, you have hydronics to the ground source heat pump, but that system's not filled yet, is that correct?
It's not, there's no electricity to it.
Yeah.
There is no, it's not
They
filled.
haven't
No
filled
groundwater
it
in
with
it yet, no.
Yeah, so they're working on,
Because the
right
pumps
now,
can't
what
work.
they're doing is
Good,
they're
no
working
power,
on.
so.
I was making sure they're not filling the system
No.
when we don't have any power, we don't
No,
have any heat,
no, no.
so they're not trying to, sorry, when you said HVAC was done, there was no power, I got.
No,
nervous.
he
Yeah.
more meant like, all of the piping and systems
Yeah.
are in place.
Ducts and the fresh air, return air, all that duct work is in. And now connecting the geothermal, they're working on the manifold inside, so it's still apart.
Yeah.
No water's in there yet. So,
Great.
We get the electricity to the building, and I think we can move forward with operating some of those systems, even during the last bit of construction. to be honest, so.
Do they have time built in for commissioning for the HVAC? Is
Yep.
that in their schedule?
Yep.
They got a couple of weeks worth of
They've
that?
got a couple weeks. I think I believe the schedule was looking at March timeframe for,
Okay.
for commissioning.
All right.
Early April, maybe.
Yeah, and
For sure.
it never goes exactly how it's supposed to go.
Yeah,
Just-
and Wenham kind of, it's the same system as what Wenham has, so
Oh, okay.
same group doing it,
Oh, good.
same contractor, so they're, if anything, they were kind of learned some things, and hopefully it's working well, as far as I know.
That's good.
It's
I'll
positive.
copy and paste then, yeah.
For sure. The other thing I have in front of you, which is another,
And if, Rosie, I sent you this by email, you should have it, and then I'll put it up on screen as well.
Yep, it's, I said, I think,
Just are you moving to water, or?
Yeah, water rates.
Just one more before we
Yeah,
leave
before
town
we get
hall.
to
I didn't
that
know if there was any costs.
What's that?
Town hall, are we
Oh,
moving
hall?
off town hall?
No, we can continue.
I did,
on
just
town
one
hall.
more question from a cost perspective. Sounds like everything's going as planned. You know, the move-in is in the spring. We've always thought that. Any surprises cost-wise? I know we gave a little more money from the CPC. I don't know if that's
Yeah.
needed still or not, or still to be determined.
The cost, the surprise was we didn't get the ADA grant for 250. We got denied again. More so, it seems like there was some new requirement that wasn't, in my opinion, and probably Joe would concur, was not clearly indicated. That there was a change this year in the application process. It was not evident. It was, in my opinion, buried in some, the fine print.
In my opinion, it was a technicality. So we've applied
But
for
it,
this, we've applied for this grant 4 years in a row. And as a condition of the grant, you have to have an assigned ADA coordinator. And we had one. We named him and we told him when he was appointed. Every year, added it to the grant. This year, without a lot of fanfare or even notice to applicants, they said that in order for that to count, that ADA coordinator had to register with the Mass Office of Disabilities. We missed it. We missed it in the application because it was a new requirement, but it wasn't really outlined as such as a new requirement. Hey, don't forget this. It was just listed in pages of, and since we'd done the grant application 4 years in a row, we thought we had it.
Yeah.
And they said that that was a fatal flaw, which I said, well, if it's a fatal flaw, then you should probably highlight that in your directions in the application.
Is there an appeals process, or how does that work?
No, because all the grant money's been awarded.
Well, I just don't know if other communities or cities or towns had the same issue, and there's something to.
I don't know.
The money's allocated, I get it.
They were oversubscribed anyway. There was, I think,
So-
88 communities that got grants and something like 300 communities that applied, so.
So, in a way, it's good that we moved the money, got the money when we did for
Yep.
CPC, the extra money. Very much appreciate that. I think we are tracking right around, 10% was my goal on contingency. I think we're gonna be around there, maybe, hopefully less when it's
Yeah.
all said and done. There is some adds and deletions, that will come up at the end of kind of near the end of the project. So, I'm tracking around the 10% mark is what I'm trying to hit, so.
What about like winter conditions because of the weather? Have we had this, has there been any, like what are we doing special for winter conditions? They don't,
So
you
it's on
do,
them to work in winter conditions.
so it's their cost, it's not like
It's
an
on their
allowance?
cost, yep,
Okay.
yep.
But you're doing the snow removal for them, or are they removing their own
So we do
snow?
the snow removal, the in and the out of the.
Okay.
of the-
Job site.
Because
Okay.
we're behind them. So we make sure that the road in and out is clear. We make sure our lot's clear, and we make sure that there's parking where we need to near the trailers.
What about temporary heat? Knowing
That's
that,
all, it's all part of them.
even though it's extended?
Yeah, I mean, I
Okay.
think if it was always gonna be in the winter.
Okay.
That was when the original contract mark was.
Okay.
So I don't see it any different,
Good.
to be honest. And last winter, actually, they benefited because they were still connected to our gas. So we were able to work with them to, the limited amount of heat they needed,
Mhm.
when they began, they did take advantage of us being, hooked up to the natural gas, so.
Anything keep you up at night? Left for the project, or what keeps you up at night?
I want it to be successful, and there's a lot of different levels in a project like that.
Mhm.
I've learned, working with the architect and the contractor, and I'm in the middle of it all, so there's, there's things that I want to make, a decision tomorrow, or yesterday, if you want to call it that. And I've
Right.
got to work through the levels and the back and forth and go through the correct process for being this type of municipal project. So there's a learning curve in that, but there's also some time and patience as well. So
Okay.
And then you said there's some items after they move in, the outside landscape. Are you
Yep.
paving before or after? What's left once you're buttoned up to move in?
outside restoration, planting, probably fences, shrubs, curbing, paving.
Street appeal.
Just, the final restoration that has to be done in the spring.
Yeah.
More favorable weather, so.
Well, good.
And I think maybe the final painting on the building, maybe some masonry, small masonry work left. But, things that are temperature
Spring helps.
sensitive, so. But yeah, I think it's, if you guys, like I always say, if you guys wanna come and take a look at where we're at, pictures are okay, but come around and you can see how it's kinda shaping up, so.
Yeah, I love that.
Sounds good.
Yeah, just let me know, and usually after 3 is preferred, because they're all cleared out, and
Okay.
the building's open, and not having to work around people.
Yeah, appreciate that.
You want to get to the other thing?
Water rates.
Water rates.
It's exciting. And I've used this spreadsheet in the past.
Do you need this, or?
Nope, I'm pretty good with what I put there. I gave 4 options. The first column, to the left of the blue column, is
Copy.
the current rates as it stands today. So what you'll see as you go down further down, you'll see that we are very close. In the red is a deficit. So we are very, and a lot of my quarterly commitments are estimates. They're just projections. So we're very close on the fiscal 27 budget with using the same rates, fees, and structure that we currently have. So what I did is I put 4 different alternatives together, similar to what I've done in the past. And this basically just gives you something to kind of look at, to evaluate, and where are we looking to go with covering the expenses? Are we looking to increase the revenue to again look to fund some current or future projects without having to borrow? So looking at, you can kind of see what the surplus will be as you work across those options. Those options are defined on the right side. You can kind of, all the way over to the other side.
Yep.
You can see, option 1 is a $40 infrastructure fee with a 30% rate increase per quarter. So that is, I ran 4 different scenarios, not, many scenarios can be created, but it's all kind of depending on how much, if any, revenue we want to see after the expenses are covered to gear up for other capital projects in water, throughout the town, treatment or distribution. That is kind of what we're seeing now is, back 3 years ago, I think it was in 2023 that we raised the rates last time. We look to create some surplus for some improvements. Costs have just skyrocketed. We're not able to build enough as quickly as originally thought and to cover some significant projects. So we're having to wait several years before we can even scratch the surface of a phased water system improvement project. So I think our rates have to kind of you have to look at that as the market itself is probably 40% more than it was a few years ago. A $2 million project is probably a $3 million project now. And our rates weren't able to keep up with the cost inflation. So that's kind of what those 4 are, just to kind of look at the impacts of raising rates, raising infrastructure, and how much, and then what the surplus would be or could be projected out, based on those changes.
What was our last rate increase?
It was 2023. I think it was I think it was 2020 was previous, and then 2023. So it's been every few years.
Do you know how much?
What
I think it was like the first one was I think the first tier was $4.20,
Yeah.
$4.20, and then it went up to $6.
Okay.
Tim, do you have a sense of how our rates correlate with other towns, like Wenham, Ipswich, like the surrounding towns? Do you have a sense of where we are in comparison?
So I think we're competitive. I think it's hard to really look at that, because because some towns, they'll do infrastructure, or they won't do infrastructure, they'll hold it all in the rates. They run off, instead of gallons or per 1,000 gallons, they'll run off cubic feet per second or some other volume calculation. I feel like, in the communities that I've lived in, we're very competitive with the water. We don't have sewer here, so, communities that have both, you'd have to break out the difference. But I feel like a normal, and that's what those options are that is center screen now. What I did is I basically broke down a 14,000 gallon bill and say that's average. What does it look like with option 1, 2, 3, and 4? And to see what the difference is per quarter and for the year. So I try to give like a forecast as well as, an impact per quarter and for the full year, based on the 4 different options.
If you look at the rate structures in that first 0 to 5,000 gallon usage, then the next bracket, 5,000 to 25,000, do you have a sense of how much of our revenue is coming from the first bracket versus the second bracket?
I do have a way to calculate that, I don't have that tonight, but
Yeah.
I would say we're, a good portion, 85% of the communities in one of those 2.
Yeah, okay.
So that's where a lot of the,
Right.
there are larger users, they pay a lot more, as you work up the tiers, there could be a few outliers,
How, like, percentage-wise, how many of the community are kind of in that under 5,000 gallons? Is it like half of the community or less than half?
I mean, it would be, families are not, 5,000 is not a lot of water for
Yeah.
3 months.
Yeah.
A couple or maybe a single person.
Yeah.
Families are, usually within that second tier.
Okay.
That's why I use the 14,000.
Yeah, I was gonna say, you said the average.
Around an average household.
Okay.
Have you thought about holding flat at the lower numbers to try to encourage people to conserve water and then really lifting the higher gallon
It just
tiers?
feels like
Yeah.
that. That's why I'm asking those questions around the brackets,
problem is
because
less
maybe our
people-
low bracket
No,
is
because
too
the less
low,
people water
right?
use, the
Yeah,
more we have to
I don't
charge.
know, but I don't know that that's
Okay,
too
so
low.
there's a couple different things.
No,
First,
not the number. I mean, like the.
This,
No, I mean this. Like 0 to 5,000. Like 5,000 is too small of a number.
yeah.
If our average is
So it
at
should go to
14.
14 then.
Yeah.
So if he broke
yeah,
the
there you go.
tiers.
but
Yeah.
but if you do, so if you convince the people that are at the 14 to use less water, then you have to charge them more per gallon to get the same amount of money. You have a fixed cost system
Yeah,
there in a
fixed
way.
cost. We don't pay
So-
per
Not
gallon.
really. You can have an escalator going up to the higher tiers. I'd have to know how many are in each volume, but you could create a formula that just drives. You make less on the early and then more on the. You pay a higher rate. If you use it.
I think option 2 or 3 or 4, I did.
It looks
something
like
with
you
the
were
tiers.
playing around with it. I didn't know if there was some
Yeah, but
logic.
there's one option that I actually increased, as you went up in the higher tiers, it actually got a higher percentage.
Right, yellow.
Let me ask another
Yellow, I
question.
think that's one of the.
Well, it looked like the blue is $30 on the
When you-
high.
Yeah.
When you mentioned our costs, like, for our system costs are going up, is that for system expansion costs mostly, system upgrades, or for maintenance? Like, and like, how's that breaking down?
So not expansion,
Yeah.
we haven't really expanded much.
Right.
It's more updating.
Yeah.
It's
Replacing old
replacing
lines?
old,
Yeah.
1940s water pipe.
Yeah.
1950s.
Is it mostly that kind of stuff that's like really driving the cost, is the replacement of systems, like?
Yeah, I mean, we're not the only one. This whole water infrastructure, sewer infrastructure, just the work itself is just,
Yeah,
it's a lot of money. Materials, equipment,
right.
everything is just,
So the reason I'm asking that question is if it was a kind of like ongoing maintenance that is tied to actual usage of water, like filter replacements, because the more we use, the faster we need to replace filters, right? So if we're changing our rate structure because we have a limited water supply, or we're trying to affect our OpEx costs, like then, having these like more complex tiers would be to our benefit. If most of our costs are tied up in, we need to replace aged lines that are at the end of their useful life, and that's the thing that's going up by 40% every couple of years, and that work has to be done anyway, I'm kind of like, just trying to get to the point of, okay, we just kind of actually, everybody's rates have to go up so we can cover those costs.
Yeah, it's a system-wide,
Yeah.
improvements. I mean, I'm looking at in the, the next, right now, I'm having a study done of our water tank. Because it's from 1940s, it's underground, it's 4 separate cells. I get it, inspected and cleaned every year. So I have a good idea of the condition. It's when is it time, right? So how long are you gonna go with an underground storage tank?
Yeah.
That's from the 1943 or whatever it was. So,
Borrowed time.
plan for it.
And it's
So-
gonna be, that'll be like a $10 million project to
Yeah, I
replace
was
it.
just
Well,
gonna
yeah,
say, I was like, the
that-
surplus
you're not
is not
getting
gonna
that from
cover
this.
it.
So,
Water is, I mean, in all utility systems, it's very expensive.
Yeah.
To maintain, to fix, to replace.
And do we have numbers in our 5-year plan on water, some of those bigger things that are identified in the next, and roughly how many tens of
Yeah,
millions
I
is
spend
that?
time every month with the North Shore Water Task Force.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get out of spending that money.
Yeah.
But that's a $10+ million number, I would imagine.
So,
Yeah, I mean, I have I'll have a better idea, because I'm having it studied.
Okay.
And then coming up with a conceptual estimate and conceptual design, for everybody to kind of discuss and to, plan for.
Awesome.
All right.
And just remind me again, on the big jumps, kind of on your point, Ben, is like contract services, operating capital, and indirect cost. Those are the big jumps from 26 to 7, right?
Yeah.
What was,
So, there's some jumps in there because of the GAC treatment, that we have now.
and is that a every couple year thing, did you
The
say?
GAC exchange is every year.
Every year.
We're able to benefit this coming year, using our old media that we had.
Get some like refurbished.
It gets refurbished, and then, so there will be less.
Right.
But then, every 5th year, you're gonna have new virgin material coming in.
And that's a
You're gonna
bigger
have to-
jump every 5th
It'll be a
year.
bigger jump.
Okay.
So we've tied that into the operating budget, just because it needs to have its maintenance, as well as our meters and hydrants that we used to carry in our operating, or in our capital, excuse me. Now we're putting them into our operating budget, just because it's a yearly expense for meters and hydrant replacements and things like that, so. The indirect, that's all salary, a lot of salaries and just people that are, and there's a big, I'm sure Wendy can describe that much better than I can.
Yeah, she went over most of it
Yeah,
last time.
it's just all, kind of all, everything's coming
Yeah.
forward and
There.
increasing, so.
Gotcha.
so explain to me the retained earning budget is 327, and the operating capital is 327. Is that the same 327?
So we're gonna use the retained earnings, to pay, to fund the capital this year in water.
Okay.
There is an operating capital a bit, so it's actually, and Wendy and I talked about this, and she brought it to my attention today.
Wendy's on
That
too.
number should not be 327, it should be
Wendy's
280,000.
on.
That meets our capital. And the gray line, which is operating capital, should be 47. Because that's it's an operating capital versus our new capital that we have planned for, it'd be 2 different articles.
I think they,
Wendy's on if you have questions. She is
And
on.
how much money is in there, is in the water fund, like surplus right now?
Wendy would have to answer that.
so, I think,
I
like,
can.
well, go ahead,
Give
Wendy.
me a second. I'll look it right up. Hold on 1 second.
And these rate increases, these boxes to the right, would they move to retained earnings after each year, or is there a different reserve bucket that you're suggesting?
No, it's same retained earnings, and remember a couple years ago when we made the increase, you made the increase partly to build retained earnings so that we wouldn't have to borrow to do
Right.
future projects. However, you do still have annual, capital projects that hasn't been able to grow as much as you wanted to. At the same time, some of those road projects to replace pipe and roads have gotten more expensive. So when we originally did it, we thought, well, after 3 years, you'll have about $1 million and you might be able to do a project of 4 or 5 streets. Well, now that project costs $2 million to do, so I'd have to take 6 years at the same rate to get there, so.
Gotcha.
So that,
The retained earnings was certified on October 28th at 1,987,856.
Okay.
So we're not voting tonight, but
No.
I mean, Tim did sort of the same thing last year, like, hey, to help Tim out, the goal is to build up cash reserve as quick as we can so we can deal with problems in the future. Otherwise, if we only raise like $100,000 this year, $100,000 next year, and now we need $1 million, now you gotta raise 800,000.
Yeah.
But if we do 327, 327, it sort of spreads out so it's a big jump this year, but then it sort of spreads it out over 3 years rather than sort of escalating it. So
But-
that's the ask of Tim.
Yeah, and I think it's the large capital projects like, replacing underground storage tanks. Like those are gonna be different than this. This is really just about like kind of like the general
Right,
smaller upgrades that we're making.
So the idea is to create enough surplus to maybe put some away for those larger projects.
Yeah, this is to pay for the larger projects. This is build a bank account, yeah.
To build up the retained earnings to
Right.
enable us to do and fund those projects without having to borrow.
Yeah, I think like, when I think you've got where my head is going with this is if you've got, two elderly folks, like, our seniors living in a house and they're using, 3,000 or 4,000 gallons a quarter or something like that, and they're on fixed incomes, then doing what we can to help, like, really be a little bit more granular almost in these categories, because like we catch a lot of people, I guess, probably in that 5,000 to 25,000. That's the majority of, and if that's ends up being, families, single or dual income, maybe they
Yeah,
can
and
burn
the way it
more of
works
that.
is,
But
say, I use 14,000, so that's 5,000 out of the 14
Yeah.
is in the first tier.
yeah,
So they're getting charged $6, right now it's $6 for 1,000 gallons of water.
Can't hear.
because I kind of like how these there's and when I
We lost audio on Zoom.
You guys can't hear us?
look at the bottom.
got
Sorry.
us now? Sorry about that.
Yes.
Sorry about that. Then on the, in that next bracket up, once you get up above 25,000 gallons, that's where, I don't know what percentage of the pie those are. So this is where I want
Yeah.
more data, I guess. Like
It'd be good to get the number of households within the buckets, or, I don't
So we
know,
can
how our
help.
revenue comes in.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, just to see.
I'll try see, I mean, I'm limited on some of the software, but I might be able to kind of generate something.
Because somehow you had to like apply numbers to your new rate increases, right, to get to your,
We'll take a meter
Well, so I
read.
used fiscal 25 numbers.
Okay.
So you run a kind of well, I won't get into it. but-
I mean, it's easy because he did 50% across the board. So it's not like he had to figure out which tier made more money. He just put 30 or 50% across the
on
board.
the option 3, he does.
Yellow's the one where he has to do a little
Right.
bit more guessing on how he's going to make money versus the
Right.
tiered, because you had to guess what your percentage of the 20% versus 10%.
So, yeah, so I just applied those percentages across different tiers within the system and ran a scenario with the fiscal 25 consumption.
I guess
That
like,
generates estimated commitments, quarterly commitments.
right, so you have the 30% increase, you've got a 20% increase and a 15% increase. Those are just flat, oops, sorry.
Yep.
Flat increases across all
Yep.
5
all
tiers.
tiers, right?
So, and then the gold one, option 3, is where you're starting to kind of break it up a little bit more. But the difference between like option 1 at a flat 30% increase, right, nets you at 650,000 surplus versus the other 3 options are all at that targeted $300,000 surplus. So is that our target? Is it 300 or
That's kind
is
of
it
what the discussion
650?
is about, is how
Yeah.
much we want to target. Because I can then, if we
We
want
want
to target a
direction
certain
from you.
amount,
What do you want us
I
to
can-
target? And then
I
we
can kind of
generate.
back into that number.
So then if we have a list of upcoming capital projects that we're trying to save for, if we
Correct.
think that over the next 10 years, it's, and then we gotta escalate it properly, right, based on everything that's going on with labor and materials out there, and,
I think we also want to time some of this. We won't be able to do everything within the water rate, so some of it we'll want to do
Right.
new debt. The town borrowed $10 million against the Water Enterprise Fund, right before I got here, about 8 years ago now, 9 years ago. So
What was
some of
the
that debt
term?
should start to roll off soon,
Yeah.
because I think we only did for 10 or 15 years, Wendy? The borrowing for the water?
Yeah, I can look into it and have it prepared next time if you'd like.
So we'd want to time like the bigger things like the water tank you know, we'd like to pay a portion of it out of what we've got in retained earnings, and then use some of the debts rolling off and reapply the debt and get it.
Right, our debt service is a third of our water.
But we don't want it to
Right,
be much
we
more
don't-
than that.
We don't do much, which is why we're trying to,
It's currently a third.
yeah, it's currently a
It'll go
third,
down
that's why
to
we're trying to
something when you
raise
tell
the,
us.
Yeah.
so we're trying to raise the rate to build that kitty, so we don't have to be borrowing so much.
Right.
But, so why, what's magical about a third?
That's what it is right now,
I mean,
I'm saying.
No,
but
what
it's
is magic about keeping
I
it?
think that again, we have to keep in mind that we want to show the bond rating agencies, you know, everything comes out of our AAA bond rating. When we borrow money, we get a better interest rate on it because we're a AAA bond rated community. When you extend yourself more than a third of what your income is, then the bond rating agencies don't really like that. You know, they start to look at you and maybe consider dropping your bond rating down. So we want to maintain our good ability to borrow money at a cheap rate, and, you know, because that'll affect us across the whole town. Right.
Well, just like citizens don't like their rate going up by a third.
No,
You know, so
no.
where's that balance, right? So to draw the
Sounds like
money.
a third.
Like,
If
is
that's
it
what the
in-
bond
I don't know
rating's
that
like,
it is a
you know,
third. I'd
'cause
want to
the
lay that
interest-
out. Like, what would it cost for debt, you know, to get the same amount of money you're trying to get through, you know, a 20% or a 30%?
So for me, I'm thinking like if the right number is, if the right surplus is 650, like that's what we kind of have to back into what that surplus wants to be.
Where's that number coming from, 650?
The yellow, that's just what's
Oh,
left.
I thought-
30%, sorry.
Okay. Just on this one, yeah.
So what I'm asking is the right surplus amount per year 650? Is it 450? Is it 300? It's like that, we have to start.
Last time we did not
Back into
take
that.
the first column, we took the second column.
Yeah, I wouldn't go with the first column.
But now we're doing.
I
another
like
column.
your yellow
Yeah,
column
it's nice
the
to put
best.
out some big like.
I like the yellow column too.
But I'd want to kind of understand the shift, to your point, in the usage buckets.
That's
You
where
know,
I was like, if I'd made up a number and said, well, what if we raised rates by 50%, right? It's like, well, then 650 would look pretty good. The question I'm asking is the right amount of surplus, is it 650, 450, or 300? Like to deal with maintaining our bond rating and to plan for the future, right? So we want to kind of back into the right number, and then we use a strategy like you've done in the gold column here.
First of all, no, if you started at 50, that would have been a harder laugh. 30 would not have looked good. Our goal is to minimize the rates and kind of be smart about what we're charging our residents to create a bucket to do jobs in the future. We haven't seen those jobs even yet. So we got to prioritize those jobs when they need, then you do the backwards, and you have a hybrid view of debt and what the cost of borrowing is, and then the rates. Because that's a huge jump, 30%.
I agree with that.
Huge jump.
I know. I was gonna say.
But we've had low.
You just said if it was 50,
But
you
we've
would have
had
it
low
like
rates.
30. I'm
We've
telling
had
you
low
now.
rates.
I definitely wouldn't have.
Right. But it's a result of we've had low rates historically, very low rates, and so we're trying.
So
to
let's
get,
look at that. I'd
yeah.
like to see the rates.
So I
and
mean,
what
yes,
the average water
it's a
bills.
big jump now, but only because we've been benefiting from lower rates. So it's sort of that. Yeah, we've been benefiting, and now it's gonna negatively hurt us because we're gonna jump up so much. But what I'm hearing, Tim, is that if we can look at the first tier, and the first tier maybe might represent a one or two person household with a fixed income, and find out what that average rate is, maybe that's what we base the tier on. So if it's somebody's retired or a single person living in a house, let's look at what that average water usage is for that person. Maybe if that's 6,000, maybe that lower rate is 0 to 6,000 or something. So if that data is available, I think that might be helpful to understand.
Yeah.
And then we can
Joe?
jump it up from there.
Yeah.
That's good thinking.
Yep.
Joe, I'm sorry, could you go back to the current raise? Could you just sort of scroll sideways so I can just refresh my memory?
Yeah, six. It's six.
I know.
850. That row, that one right there. Oh,
Oh, wait, where?
sorry.
Stones.
Scroll down a little bit.
So right now,
Right there. Yeah, six. That white column, right? The two white columns.
6,850.
6,
Yeah,
850.
okay.
That's and then
but 850 is more the average between 5 and 15 is what you're saying,
that's what.
right?
Right.
Between
5 and 25.
5
Yeah.
and 25. Yeah.
That's where the majority of the.
Okay, 5 and 25,
That's where the
okay.
that's where the majority of the
Okay,
residents
yeah.
probably pay. Correct.
Yeah, if you've got
Right,
if you've
okay.
got 3 to
So
4
that's-
people in a house, if there's 3 to 4 people in that house, then yes.
I think I can do this. So I understand correctly. You want me to run a couple scenarios, maybe even that first tier go up to 14 or whatever the average household.
And not the average household. We gotta
No,
look
we
at
wanna
like
leave them
a.
the same.
They want to they want to stay away from the small,
We don't want to
one
raise.
or two potentially older folks who are in
Yeah, I don't know
Like,
how
I'm
we-
not using as much water.
I don't know how you're gonna find that data because you have to do a census
Yeah, you
compared with
couldn't,
the.
'cause there's
but
probably-
Well,
you
we
could look at a
don't-
couple, maybe we could, I mean, Joe, we gotta
Corinne
figure
will
out how
have
we,
that.
we gotta figure out how we
Should
can
have
leave.
some of that data.
I won't be,
Well,
I won't be able to be cross-referenced against the water rates, though. Oh, against the
Well,
water
we have
rate.
the
So
addresses?
didn't our water bills just come today?
Yeah, I just looked at it,
Yeah.
that's why I was.
The-
I had no idea.
Okay,
It wasn't terrible,
I'm
actually.
a two-person household. I could just go open my bill and tell you it usually runs, just under 200.
Yeah.
And so, you know, what would the difference be
Exactly, so
with?
some volunteers you might wanna give, help us figure
You don't
this
have
out.
to, nobody,
You don't have to
not
say it.
everybody that wants to volunteer their bill has to share their name.
Yeah.
Thank you, Rosie.
And you don't have to do it online, we can do it in a email
But
to
we,
Joe.
we can, yeah, we can get some granular.
Alright, we gotta move on, cause we have lots of things to do tonight, so I think it's a good
That's good-
discussion.
Good stuff.
Yeah, no,
And,
it's
um,
great stuff.
The goal is to bring this back to you guys, hopefully have a vote, maybe at the first meeting in March. If you're gonna adopt new rates, we want them to be able to go into effect after the April meter read, so that mean they wouldn't take effect until your August bill.
Right.
And just to be clear too, it's like there's, so we bottomed out on the, how it impacts the smaller, more fixed income households, but also having that number that we want to back into of like whether it's, you know, how much surplus are we trying to generate each year? It's like, so we're backing into the right number,
Yeah,
not
and,
just.
and identifying what that number is based on when debt rolls off and you know,
And
when the next-
how much
when
we
the
need to
next
raise in
project, yeah.
savings to
the
balance
next
the
project,
debt.
yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Alright,
So you want me to run some scenarios or just?
I think what we need is we need to identify the major projects and their estimated costs. We need to know when the debt rolls off, and then we need to be able to estimate the difference between the debt that we'd be able to authorize and the amount that we estimate in savings to see what the balance is.
But you want me to hold the tiers the way they are? or you
no,
want me to change
we need to find out what the low tier, we need to find out what a one or two person household, what is that, what tier that is, and see if we can,
I think you'll find that it's probably over 5,000 gallons.
right, so you probably need to,
So I think they're
Yeah.
probably,
Really?
they're probably okay, but
Right.
I would say it's probably closer to 7.
Okay.
6,
So that's what I mean, it's like kind of like just trying to
7?
get that at the right.
I get it.
I didn't
Alright.
say that.
I've got
All right.
kids, I'm sorry.
I said it and
I
wasn't
can't get
like,
away
"Oh,
from it
no, I
anymore."
said it."
Joe's got a list, so I think,
Alright.
yeah, Joe's got a list, he knows what we need to do.
Yeah.
All right, thank you.
And then just, I got 3 last questions on, and we can go around anybody, but on terms of, department reports, one obviously is appreciate the hard work over the last couple of weeks.
Good.
And any, you know, snow and ice removal and everything, and is that budget going to be replenished for the end of the year?
No,
Or-
so water,
we're
so
good?
snow and ice, but the snow and ice budget is the one budget in our municipal budget that can go into the red. It hits us in our free cash certification
That's my
next
question,
year,
yeah.
but we don't have to appropriate other money now in the middle of the year to
Okay.
try to cover it. It's the one line item that can go red, so it'll go red. And every 5 or 6 or 7 years, you have a year where it goes red, and then the rest of the years we're fine.
Okay.
So the last 4 years in a row, we've been fine with our snow and ice. It doesn't look like that's gonna be the case this year.
No.
No, we're gonna have to, well, I mean, it is what it is. I mean, that's the only budget you can do that with.
But you got enough people helping you out, and you got,
So I can say that looking and talking to other directors, we were very, the guys worked hard, they did a very good job. Responded, we handled 24 plus inches of snow. Something that would have gave us a lot of challenge a few years ago. But we are short numbers still, and we were able to get some really good contractors that stayed at it. We've had them for a couple of years now, so they know the routes, they know where things are at, which was super helpful. But my guys, I can't say enough about, it was 40 hours or so they were in.
Wow.
So.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And I want to go a step further. Tim and the mechanic, Eddie Neal, and the folks at town meeting who've authorized our capital budget every year. We've made significant improvements in our equipment that is moving the snow and as Tim said a couple years ago, like the first year I got here, we'd have struggled with that much snow in that amount of time. But the new trucks, the new sanders, the new sidewalk equipment is all paid huge dividends for the way the guys were able to get through the storm. And so we appreciate the town's willingness to step up and fund the items that we asked for in the capital plan.
I have a very good assistant, Peter Cobb, that can handle snow like the best of them. He does very well, he stays with it. He's very knowledgeable. It's like he orchestrates the whole movement.
Okay, that's good.
And, so I'm very happy to have him, and
That's good. Operations.
the guys respect him and understand that he's been there, he's been in the crew, he's worked his way up, so he knows how it all works. And so, shout out to him because he did a good job.
Thank you.
A lot of snow.
Do we do a lot of treatment before storms or more on the tail end with the cleanup?
So we do treat, depending on how the storm's shaping. That one that we just had, we didn't treat a lot because we knew we were gonna waste it.
Buried.
We're gonna be plowing before long. So I think we ran one pass, just to, what you're doing is you're trying to coat the road so you break the bond up
Right.
from the snow and the ice. And so we did pre-treat, just to eliminate that bond from happening, which I think really helped us. We've been spraying as well. And I think that coats and activates the salt and creates that barrier between.
Nice.
So when we do go plow, we're not plowing ice, it's loose, so we're able to get back down to pavement. So-
And we plow the schools as well, or do they use their trucks or a combination thereof?
So we do the elementary schools.
Okay.
The middle school and high school, they have a contractor that comes in.
Okay.
We'll assist if we need to.
Yeah, right.
But usually we're strung out and busy too, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, and everybody was very patient. Thank you to the community for.
2 snow
abiding by
days.
the
We only had one. You guys had two in town, in the school district, but the town only took one.
Yeah.
Right.
No,
What do you think
no-
delayed that? So was it the sidewalks to get to the schools the second day, or just the streets in
I
general?
think
and
it's
snow?
just the streets in general.
Yeah.
It snowed
Yeah,
till
it was
like,
fu-
it snowed till like 2 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah,
That
it was.
No.
I think,
Oh, and then it was like another 6 inches over the next 12 hours.
I didn't get a chance to talk to Eric about this storm specifically, but I know we've chatted in the past and some of his challenges that, not all of his teachers live in the town or even really close to town. Some of his teachers live away. And all towns, there was a big spread of how well the roads were cleared across towns. I won't mention other towns that I don't think did as well as Hamilton, but there were several that I have to drive through to get here. And I think that, teachers' ability to get into school does weigh on the superintendent's decision. Like, yes, he could maybe get the schools open and get kids in there, but if there's nobody at the front of the class to keep order, then what do we have them
Yeah,
there for?
that
So-
was the right call. The right call.
Yeah, we appreciate them working with, I have a good rapport with Curtis down there, the facilities director, on the phone with him or texting with him. You guys opening, you guys are, because it changes our routine and it changes where we're gonna focus.
Focus, that's right.
So that was, he was very responsive and kept us, in the loop there.
Yeah, he seems great. And
Yeah.
thank you please thank your team.
Yeah.
Like that was just a huge lift. Thank you.
Last question I had for you was, as we're gonna have a budget discussion for 2027, and because we're looking at an override, we sort of relooked at the budget, and we don't really wanna cut staff, but we wanna cut money, right? So one of the things that came up was eliminate positions that haven't been filled. And a lot of those positions happen to end up in the DPW right now. So how would it affect you if everybody's working hard right now to make up for it, but how would it be to go through a whole nother year by us eliminating positions that you haven't currently filled to save money on the budget?
We're a small staff, so even minus one is a lot. We're shifting guys around, we're covering different departments with different divisions. Highway guys will go down and help parts out. And, some days that's fine. Other days, if highway's backed up with storm, post-winter operations, we got now Memorial Day to push for. So small staff, it'll be an impact, more so just moving guys around to cover, and some things may not get done. But we stay busy. One of the positions I think we're looking at is not necessarily an open position either, so,
Be careful.
yeah.
We gotta be careful about that. So.
Yeah. So it'll impact us.
And I think we took that off the list, Tim.
Oh, okay,
Yeah, that one we took off the list. We
Okay,
had,
so
we
just-
just
Just
the
the
one
one?
unfilled
Okay.
right now.
okay. Yeah.
We have a list of things that we'll go over with the board later when we get into that part of the discussion.
I just wanted to get his opinion on if
Yeah.
if we cut from his department, what will it do? How much pain will you feel? So,
Guys we'll just have to shift around and cover, and there'll be something. We'll have to deal with it, obviously, but it's not ideal,
okay.
since we are short to begin with.
Okay. Rosemary or Tom online, any other questions for Tim?
No
I
question.
think you gave a pretty good review. Thank you, Tim.
I'm good.
Bill,
Great
Ben,
job
you guys
as
good?
always.
Okay. Thanks for coming in, appreciate it.
Thanks, Tim. Good night.
Thanks,
Do we
Tim.
need him any longer? Like, he can go home and get some sleep.
He's off the hot seat.
Go home, get some sleep. Let us know tomorrow.
Decaf coffee, I'm all right.
Yeah, you glad that storm went south?
This past weekend we are.
Great. Yeah, it's actually, we had 3 inches in Manchester, so I talked to Pete and I said, how we doing? He said, sunny blue sky.
Yeah.
So it was a strange storm, but it worked
It
out.
was really strange because I didn't have anything in Swampscott
You
either.
didn't have anything else?
I thought
Not
Gloucester
a
this time, right?
not a snowflake.
Gloucester got hit pretty hard in
Yeah.
Rockport,
Yeah.
And then we just got the tail end, but it snowed all morning.
Wow.
3 inches,
Well, the
2 to 3
cape
inches.
juts out a little, so maybe that has to do with the wind coming back around. Yeah.
We escaped it here, though. Let the guys sleep.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Tim.
All right, next item on the agenda, approve appointment of Jack Whittier to the Hamilton Environmental Impact Committee. We heard someone speak to that. Let's do the motion, then we can have the discussion. Do I have a
Jack's
motion to
here.
approve, yeah, we'll have him come up. Let's do the motion, then we can have the discussion.
All right.
Do I have a motion to approve the appointment of Jack Whittier to the Hamilton
Yeah, I
Environmental Impact
move that we
Committee?
approve the appointment of Jack Whittier to the Hamilton Environmental Impact Committee.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All right, and Jack is here. Come on up and say hello to us. And you can teach us all something. Your resume is pretty impressive. So thank you for volunteering.
Yeah. Hi.
Yeah, give a quick, give a quick, what you've been doing and why you, and how you came to volunteer.
Sure. A little LinkedIn stuff. I listen to all you guys.
Yeah.
You and I have some commonality.
I saw that. Yeah.
Andy?
Yeah.
Did you know Andy pretty well?
Yeah.
Solberg.
Yeah. Know him really well.
I
Yeah.
worked a lot with Andy. So
Yeah, he's great.
Guy in Reno.
Okay.
Yeah.
So different life.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I've done. I think where Ben has been. I started off in renewable and energy efficiency and worked for engineering firms, and then really my interest was in the supply side, so I did an awful lot of renewables, geothermal to biomass to solar. And we did big projects and small projects, and been all around the world doing it. It's been a great ride.
It'll be great to have your insight, so.
Yeah. Saw the. I'm tickled. I saw your resume. It's just real ringer. So
Yeah.
I'm sure the committee will be very happy to have you helping them out. And,
Sounds great.
Rosemary or Tom, any other questions for?
No, certainly impressive resume, so that would definitely be an asset.
Just
Yeah,
know that I worked
agree.
all the time.
And you're retired, so you got lots of time.
yeah.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
And anybody else, public comment? Anybody else have any questions, comments? I know we already heard from some of your fellow future committee members. All right, so
How long have you been in town?
Since 2014.
All right. Yeah.
It's sort of,
On and
my
off.
family's been here forever.
All right. Yeah.
all right, well, I'm ready to vote. Anybody else? Everybody else ready to vote?
I'm ready.
All right, roll call. Rosemary,
Rosie Kennedy, aye.
Tom,
Tom Myers, aye.
Bill Wilson,
Bill Wilson, aye.
Ben Gluza, aye.
Roy Molson, aye. Yeah, thank you. Five very excited
Yeah.
board members that you're joining our community and helping us out
Yeah.
in the future and helping this other group out as well too. So
Yeah. I look forward to working with you guys.
and we need
Great,
one
thanks,
more,
Jack.
so bring somebody else on board. All
Do some recruiting.
Thank you.
right, thank you.
The next one, I don't think the appointee is here, but it's a reappointment, and Tom might be able to speak to this. It seems like our wires got crossed when this reappointment came up back in the spring. He wasn't aware that we were trying to reach him, and then he recently reached out and wanted to ensure that his reappointment was done. Russell Kemp's been on the Chappaqua Woods Land Management Committee for a while, so we added it here if you wanted to consider it.
So this is with his approval.
Yes.
Okay.
He finally reached out to us and said, hey, I think I was supposed to be reappointed. Okay.
All right, so do I have a motion to reappoint Russell Camp to the Chappaqua Woods Land Management Committee for Hamilton? Do
So moved.
I have a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? I mean, Joe, I mean, you.
I'm not
so-
as familiar with this
I'm not
committee,
familiar with
though.
him or this committee,
You know,
but
they annually, they work together with a group of committee members from Manchester, and
Okay.
they they put out materials about the trails between the Chappaqua Woods trails, and
Yeah.
annually they organize a cleanup of the trails, and they'll go out and do that. And it's about $2,500. We in Hamilton and we in Manchester like switch off who has it in their budget each year, and it's not a committee that's overly active. They're not expanding the trails or anything like that. It's just kind of trail maintenance and making sure that people know that the trail is blazed and such, and
And this, with the new
and it would
land
keep us from
sale-
having to put another opening on our list of openings. So.
Yeah. Keep our meetings that much shorter. And there's no impact of that new land that's going in, because that'll be managed by the trustees, so this is separate. Okay.
Separate.
Okay,
All right.
roll call vote. Rosemary?
Rosie Kennedy, aye.
Tom?
Tom Myers, aye.
Bill?
Bill Wilson, aye.
Ben Gluzai.
And William Wilson, aye. Thank you, Russell. All right, next item on the agenda is a approval of a license for a small wireless facility in right-of-way adjacent to 50 Walnut. So the planning board has approved this, and they need us to sign.
To vote on to accept and sign the license agreement. Mark Connors, our planning and land use director, is on the line, as is Mr. Ed Pear, or is that Pear or Pare?
I believe it's Parry.
Pare. Hey,
Pare,
thanks. Thanks, Ed. They're here to answer any questions you have, but yeah, this is
Can we have a quick, can
technical for you.
we have a quick summary of the project? What it looks like? What it
Sure,
does?
so this is a bit of formality. This is a planning board application that was approved by the planning board late last year. This is for a small wireless facility, so it's AT&T is the provider, and they're looking to fill a gap in wireless telecommunications service in the town center area of Hamilton. This is a provision in our bylaw that allows cell phone providers or others to have facilities on utility poles. So it's it provides a way to improve wireless service, but a little bit less intrusive than a major pole. So AT&T is looking to take advantage of that. This is a pole that's existing in Hamilton. This has been through the public hearing process, so the abutters have been notified. It was approved unanimously by the planning board. So the zoning bylaw just requires the town to sign off on the licensing agreement. So this is an agreement that allows AT&T to go within the right of way in order to put the facility on the pole and to maintain it. And they also pay a fee to the town in order to do that annually.
That was my question, yeah, though. How's the finances work on it? We actually get paid?
Yeah, like $200 a year though.
And then is this in perpetuity, or is there a limit on it?
They have to update it every year. So,
Oh, really? Okay.
yeah.
So it's only
So
license
is
for a
the
year.
pole there, or is it a new pole? Is it a taller pole? Is
Existing
it a
pole.
existing pole, same height, they're not going up?
So it's an existing pole, but it will be replaced with a slightly taller pole.
But is it a taller pole that's coming in, or
It is.
how much taller is the pole?
Not
About
much,
six,
5 feet.
6.5 feet, I believe.
6.5 feet.
It's gonna be like 38 feet tall or something like that, I think I saw.
Yes.
Sure.
And is
So,
this
this is like when we talked about
Yeah.
that fixed wireless
Yeah,
network.
right.
This is kind of like what you don't want typically to happen. Everyone come in on their own, then
Right.
you've got multiple poles or just new objects hanging. I know we're hopefully have a tower coming in 100 yards from here, which will totally blanket that area. You usually like to control, things like this, but, I would hate to discourage better coverage for all the carriers downtown, right?
What was my question? Is this one of many? Like, are they gonna come next month with another one, or
So
like
I think the thing is AT&T was looking to use this approach. We know that there's another carrier, Verizon. Mark spoke with the pole developer last week, as did I. I think they'll be in with their application for the pole behind the public safety building in the next week or so. Their goal is to get on this planning board's agenda for the second planning board hearing this month, a planning board meeting this month, and February 20th. Mark, is that right?
They missed that deadline, so it'll be sometime in March.
Oh,
I
okay,
think.
early March then. So the application should be coming along here in the next week or so. They finally get all their ducks in a row and start that process. I would, now similar to the pole behind Town Hall, other carriers can go on that pole.
That's
So
ideally
once
the way to go.
once this pole goes up, we would try to direct people
Maybe
who
this
wanna
goes
come in
away.
to go somewhere else. But not necessarily a reason to deny AT&T right now, because they could be, in the ground and improving service for their customers in a much quicker timeframe. The
And,
poll's still gonna, once the poll goes through the permitting process, it's still gonna take a period of time to construct and get online. So this could be an immediate improvement, at least for the AT&T customers in the center.
And so the $270, like, who negotiated that? Is that standard fee?
That's a license, that's a
It's
licensing
just
fee,
a
that's
licensing
nothing to do,
fee,
like
so-
when you go, when we put people on a pole behind town hall,
different.
then you're getting a lot of money, but like, so this, like, I don't know if there's
But why,
a,
but where's the number 270 come from?
yeah, where does that come from? Is it
It's in the zoning bylaw.
It's in the zoning
Oh, it's in the
bylaw.
zoning bylaw?
What is that, well, how does that language read? It's flat fee, it's a cost per foot, or,
I believe it's per facility, so this is just for one facility, so it's an annual fee.
you
Correct,
you should
and
look at
that's in
fee.
accordance with the-
That's ridiculous. That's like,
Who was that, sorry? Oh. Okay.
Yeah, the 270 is also a reference to the FCC regulations as a reasonable fee for the public right-of-way.
270s with the FCC?
270, correct.
Okay, good.
But I guess,
So to answer your question though, I don't know that I know you have to redo the fee every year, but is there a term on this poll? Like, is it a 10-year, 15-year, or just every year it's relooked at? I'm sure there's a period, correct?
I didn't see any when I was reading over.
This is a one-year license, and so Ed would answer the question whether they'd want to, they have a term that they want to get out of it.
Okay.
Yeah, it's for the life of the facility, so if they abandon the facility, they'll have to take it down. They'll obviously not have to continue paying the town, but as long as the facility's there.
I'm still not clear. Like,
there is,
what's the
it's in
expectation?
perpetuity, sounds like.
Yeah, I mean, for the life of the facility, it is what I heard, which is surprising.
Doesn't,
Usually
I
there's a
don't,
term period, or
So the term is a year, is that what you're saying,
No.
Joe? And we would renew it every year?
it says a license will be revocable by either party with or without cause upon written notice at least 3 days prior to the termination date said within said notice. So, I mean, we could, it sounds like we have some outs.
Yeah, you've got opportunity to vote. Town council reviewed the license agreement, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, that's what I thought, so.
But I guess my comment is kind of similar to Bill's. Like, I hate to limit improvement of cell phones, which is already bad, but in the future, I think we need to be part of, I know we don't, like, if we're gonna vote on this thing, I think we need to be invited and have a joint meeting with the planning board when they're going through this thing, so that we know what we're voting on.
Can I just clarify that, they're putting in a system that I'm imagining has a useful life of at least 5+ years.
Definitely.
yeah.
Okay, so like it's like a 10-year facility or a 15-year facility, right? So, but am I understanding this right? That the way that this contract is written is it's a year to year, and we can revoke it.
It's a town requirement for them to have the license, and it's renewable annually, so.
And we can terminate it without cause. So
3 days before whatever time we approve it. And I don't want to we don't want to come across like we're anti this, because we're very much pro, better coverage within the downtown. We're just trying to be strategic about it. And we know we're going to have a 150-foot pole potentially, in the future
Later
that
this
will
year.
Not that far away.
Later this
cover
calendar.
that downtown. And if you got all
And hopefully
four,
AT&T will be on
you
that
got all
ball.
3-4 carriers
Right.
on there, however there are at that time.
Then we get rid of this
The
thing.
town's going to have a revenue stream.
Yeah, and say get rid of this thing, put it on the other pole, and
Yeah.
they're gonna revoke your license because you're gonna be on their pole. So I'm in favor of this one, but I think moving forward, we gotta see, it would be good to see if, see if it works.
Yep.
Get good feedback.
Are there
on
other
it.
ones like it downtown? Do any carriers?
Not that I know of,
No, it's just-
none have come in and applied since I've been here.
if this,
There's
so
not any in Hamilton, there's one in Wenham.
just play this forward. It's sort of like if it works and it works well, and then it's just sort of like, oh well, that was fast and easy, or whatever, right? It's like then, it's like let's just go do 20 of these. Like why wait for the big tower?
Well, each carrier would do their own. You'd only need
That's the
one,
problem
and it's
is
a
you-
small coverage area versus
That's probably like
blanking
it's
it.
not.
The-
You
It
can't-
just only gets like
it's
basically
only
that.
18.
Yeah, you're gonna cover the train. That's probably a big reason why they want to be there, is for the train and the
Yeah.
commuter rail and stuff.
in the grocery store.
These are incredibly low power, so the
Yeah,
antenna
they don't-
itself
they're
sits on
not
the top of
meant
the
to
pole.
radiate.
It's 24 inches tall, so
I saw
it's,
that.
we get maybe a quarter mile, third of a mile of coverage. unlike a cell tower where could get a mile and a half or 2 miles.
So this location's not even really gonna reach across Bay Road to the actual more densely densely inhabited part of the quarter mile?
They'll direct it.
It'll almost
It
get to
sounds
the
like it's
It
gonna
may,
track and
it may, once we get online, we'll have a better sense of it.
But they might be able to get all the way to the library with that.
And sorry, do we have a map? Which pole is it? Is
it
it,
won't be like.
is it literally
They're
on
gonna direct it.
Walnut
Sure, I
Street?
see.
Yeah, it's
is.
adjacent, it's adjacent to the 15 Walnut Restaurant.
And just out of curiosity, how was that position picked? Because was that what was wanted or was that negotiated?
That's what.
It was kind of negotiated, so they came in originally with the pole further down the road,
Okay,
closer
gotcha.
to some residential properties. The abutters didn't like that, so AT&T agreed to look at other options.
Gotcha.
They came up with this option. No one had any objection at the public hearing.
My concern
So I
is
have
to
a
have.
few questions.
Go ahead, Rosemary.
I'm gonna come back.
Okay, thank you. So, you just said it's expected to perhaps cover a quarter to a third of a mile. Is that in a circumference? Is that in all directions? Or is this antenna directed toward a specific area?
No, it broadcasts in 360 degrees, but it does get, any buildings, trees, everything attenuates the signal. So it will provide a circular pattern in 360 degrees, but in some areas it may go half a mile, other areas it might go a third of a mile, depending on what trees are in the way, what buildings might be in the way.
Right, but I also read that this, and it's just because I'm not familiar with this technology. So this foliage coverage, it is not expected to impair it substantially, or it will. I'm not quite sure because you just said that foliage will impair it, and I thought.
Everything impairs it. So if there's any obstruction between the signal and the handset, there'll be some, interference or obstruction. But it will go through foliage. It will go through into buildings. It's just a matter of what they're built of, what the proximity is, but it will be diminished.
Okay, and so this pole is going to be higher than the 15 Walnut building, so it'll project maybe into downtown a bit?
It should. So we're at the top of the antenna, I believe is going to be at 37 feet in total height. So I would say it's above all of those buildings. But again, it doesn't propagate a great distance like a full antenna array.
Sure, but cell service is so abysmal in the downtown area, so that's why I'm specifically asking if it'll project into the downtown some more, which would certainly be helpful. And then also, I just wanted to make a comment. This isn't specifically about this tower, this additional cell service facility. I agree with Bill that I'm happy you're here for AT&T. I just wonder what do we do, and this is just probably more for the board, what do we do if somebody else comes along and says it's less expensive for us to make one of the top of the pole receptors, and we don't want to go on to the big new tower that might be coming in back of the public safety building. So how do we control that?
Yeah.
And is it, I'm, because this is the first time this has come up, it's an interesting question, and I agree with Bill that although I don't think 1 or 2 is very unsightly, I don't see any issues with it. I'm just wondering if the planning board, maybe this is for Mark, did the planning board consider that for future concerns?
Yeah, I think that was part of the reason why this provision was added to the bylaws. A whole new section of the zoning bylaw was added about 5 years ago. And the problem with cell towers in general is that abutters often have concerns with them from an aesthetic perspective, and there's often appeals associated with them. So I know the one in Hamilton went on for years, and almost every cell project I've worked on, they've gone on for years. So in my opinion, this is kind of a creative way to address a lack of coverage in a way that is a little bit more acceptable to folks. As I said, No one raised any objections during the public hearing process, and there are no appeals filed, so it's a way to sort of address it quickly.
Okay, and in the planning board's opinion, if we were to have others who wanted to do this as a way to avoid long, prolonged litigation, they didn't see a problem with this aesthetically?
No, this is a good location because there's a fairly mature tree that it'll be right next to, so I think a lot of folks won't even notice it.
They're not gonna have to cut any part of the tree, are you?
It's up to you, but this is gonna take a while.
Get rid of them.
We just heard that.
There's a condition in the planning board approval that they have to minimize pruning of the tree. They might have to prune a little bit, but they have to kind of maintain that buffer.
Okay, understood.
Yeah, because anything around.
I think to answer your question, Rosie, the town should certainly amend the bylaw if it becomes an issue down the road, but this is the first application we've had, so.
Yeah. No issues with this one. I just thinking about the future, what should we do? But I'm very enthusiastic about this, and hopefully it will help in the downtown area because we certainly need the help.
Yeah, we need a long-term solution, but yeah, I think we move forward with this. Sounds like we have flexibility annually. Not that we would, but, and as Mark said, it takes a while to get a tower built and up and running, but we should at some point, sit down and talk about, the difference in the power on one of these versus the tower and how far breath it takes and what's gonna be a better, resource for the town going forward. Because we don't want 4 of these popping up in town, and then they got to go even down. Like I've seen communities pop them on everything. The MBTA could come in and use right of ways to throw canisters everywhere, and then you're just kind of patching a network in there.
MBTA tried to advance that philosophy my first year here, and
Yeah.
there was a lot of pushback from the town, from the select board at the time and the planning board at the time. And after the first meeting, MBTA said, "Okay, we'll analyze it and come back," and they've never come back. So
I think
never heard from them again.
the
right,
benefits
so-
of the tower, though, obviously to the town and our financial health is the revenue, right? So I also don't want to create a situation where it's like, we're more comfortable with that aesthetically, and we don't want to take the risk if there's potential legal action against the tower going up or whatever that statement was about. But if there's opportunity for us to make more revenue by having a tower and have better coverage from a single point, it's like, I feel like you have to put that in balance of, well, what does this mean for us aesthetically? What does it mean for us short-term versus long-term? I agree with what Rosie's saying as well about the coverage and that this is an immediate net benefit to people who need coverage. But at the same time, then there's a bunch of other people in the town who need coverage.
Who won't be
and
served by this.
Who will not
Yeah.
be served by this, right? So I think we don't want to create a disincentive for the tower to go in, which can have more coverage and more revenue for the town and improve our financial health.
Now, Mark, did the planning board or did we get a RF type map that showed what we would get, like somebody getting milk in the back left of Crosby's? Will they have coverage? Or?
Who may,
I don't know if it was
whose
that
last
specific.
name might be Bill Wilson, I don't know.
They did submit a map showing what they anticipate the coverage to be, and it basically covers the town center area of Hamilton, so.
Cool.
If you have
It will
AT&T,
fill a substantial kind of gap.
not if you have Verizon.
I got Verizon.
Yeah, you'll get enough.
T-Mobile.
So, yeah, so it sounds like we're willing to vote. Sounds like we got some reservations for a master plan for
We
this
still
type
need a
of
motion
thing.
in a second.
And so, we're gonna vote on it, but I would say, Joe, a joint meeting with planning board next time this comes up, just so if
Okay.
we're gonna vote on it, we've had some discussion with them.
I know, right here. Yep, I know.
Okay.
Yep.
All right, so do I have a motion to approve
And
the,
sign.
to approve the license agreement for a small watch facility in front, in right of way adjacent to 15 Walnut Road? I have a motion.
So moved?
Have a second.
Oh, I definitely want it. I'm not quiet. Yeah, second.
Okay, all right. Any further discussion? I put mine out there for record, just in terms of a master plan, so we don't keep seeing these one by one.
Yeah,
creep
I
it
I think
that's
I'd like
up
to
and
go
down.
beyond, that we have a discussion with the planning board. I think that this, because it's quite strategic in nature, it affects us financially. We need alignment, it can't just be the.
Yeah, I don't think anybody's suggesting this is in lieu of the tower behind public safety.
No, I
That's
know.
gonna go
So
anyways.
But you can see though, sort of like if you start popping these up and they're.
But we don't have a plan for another tower though right now.
I know.
Keep that in mind.
I know.
Like, that's not part of our plan.
What? It is part of our plan, right?
No,
Just the one.
just the one.
But that tower's gonna blanket downtown.
But I'm saying, but we're not.
It should
but-
connect to one
But what
else.
my point is that with his concern, this isn't gonna. No one's suggesting this be in lieu of putting the tower up.
Oh, right.
Once that tower goes up, don't have a plan for another tower. That'll be the third tower.
No, but his concern is that, well, AT&T won't come and jump on that pole, and then maybe Verizon comes in between now
So
and
if
those
we're-
2 years.
if we're
Or not
drag our-
Verizon, but
Yeah.
If we drag our feet on
T-Mobile.
getting the tower up,
And then
it's
you've
like,
got all these other carriers
I
saying,
mean,
I got a solution, I don't need you.
I mean, I won't speak for Mr. Perry or AT&T because I'm not legally allowed to, but I would think that since they only anticipate this small facility serving a quarter to a third of a mile radius around and recognizing that there's a bigger area of Hamilton, I think that they'll probably want to go on the pole. If it's available there, they might want to talk to the pole developer and try and get a spot on there because they'll be able to get their
yeah.
signal a lot further with only one more facility than having to do.
They should. They didn't go
Yeah,
on
and-
town hall, though.
And, one of the limitations with these small cells is that there's no backup power. So power goes down,
Oh, really?
our signal's cut.
Yeah.
When we have a full site on a tower or, water tank, something tall, we typically install a backup power generator so we can keep going, especially when the times are, during emergencies, ice storms, snowstorms, power goes out, we want to continue to operate.
So where are you drawing the signal from then?
What's that?
Where do you draw the signal from for this pole? Are you pulling it from a surrounding tower somewhere, or is it Wi-Fi? Or?
Oh, no, it's fine. I mean, we bring fiber and
Fiber.
electricity to the facility and it connects right to the AT&T network.
The fiber.
So it's fiber.
Through fiber, yes.
Okay.
So Ed, after we get the second big pole approved behind behind the public safety building, we'd like you to talk to the pole developer because there's two. There's one behind town hall and there'll be one here behind the public safety building. Might be a good opportunity for you to really expand your reach.
Yep, thank you. Will do.
Could I just have, I just have one more quick question. When do you anticipate this would go online?
I would say sometime during 2026.
Okay,
the-
so not
these-
imminently.
Everything comes down to budgets. We get, we don't have our approvals yet, so, it's not even in the queue. Once the license gets issued, we have gone through the appeal period. We have to pull a building permit. We've got to get the utility to replace the pole. None of this goes quickly.
Okay,
But I think it's in our 2026 build.
okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, we got one more.
Just the one thing that I already said.
Okay.
Just want to be clear about it. I'm gonna vote yes on this. I'll just get it out there, but I want us to have better alignment with the planning board. I feel like this is something that's like I don't want to deal with it one at a time.
All right, roll call vote. Rosemary?
Percy Kennedy, aye.
Tom? Tom Myers will come back to you. Bill Wilson?
Bill Wilson, aye.
Ben?
Ben Galuza, aye.
William Wilson, aye. And Tom Myers, if you're there? Otherwise, we have four, so we're good. All right, we're gonna skip next agenda and come back to it because we gotta do two quick ones before we have a longer meeting on the.
Thank you all.
Hey,
Thank you, Ed. It was nice to
Thank
meet
you,
you.
Ed.
Thank you.
Implement, so we're gonna be quick on this one. Implement the process to change health insurance benefits pursuant to Mass General Law, Chapter 32B, Section 2123. So Joe, are you giving this presentation?
Yeah, it's a short presentation. I need the board's authorization to enter into negotiations with the Public Employee Committee, which has been reconstituted, to talk about the health insurance plan that would include both the possibility for a future move to GIC and or a change in the plan design that would allow us to save money. The resulting negotiations would hopefully allow the town to save some money on what we pay for the health insurance plan that our employees get, would save our employees some money and help us, meet future budgets.
Yeah.
This is a required vote for me to begin the negotiations. We've already notified the unions that we were going to request this vote at this meeting tonight, and that we're subject to a positive vote. I'm going to try to initiate those meetings next week, so we have a date and time and place. If you don't vote yes, I can't have the meeting.
Gotcha. Yeah.
So how does the motion need to read?
Kind of just the way you read it. Vote to approve or to implement the process to change health insurance benefits pursuant to Mass General Law, Chapter 32B, Sections 21 through 23.
But you
Yeah, to implement the
authorize-
process by authorizing me.
Okay, so I have a motion to authorize our town manager, Joe Demolowitz, to implement the process to change health insurance benefits pursuant to Mass General Law, Chapter 32B, Section 21 through 23.
Thank you.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
So Joe, anything else you need from us?
Nope, I mean, I think, we know what we're facing this budget year in FY '27 that we're planning, and likely possibly into FY '28. The board had asked me to look at, in truth, I was already looking at it, so it was a good, we're thinking the same way. So this is just the next step.
And I saw one of the things in the packet, I can't remember if it was from KP Law, around having an estimate in advance of some of the meetings or negotiations, just so it was sort of like,
Yeah.
that we were sure that there was potential savings there before we got everybody spent, it
Yeah.
sounded like just.
So
not to-
I'm working actually on having a pre-meeting with our insurer tomorrow afternoon, so
Yeah.
that we can identify what the potential savings are there.
Yeah.
And that's before we even go to the GIC. The GIC is a little more complicated because we've missed the window to go in effective July 1st.
Yeah.
So even if we pivot to that
February.
area, it would be next January before we go. So you'd only recognize like a half a year's savings in FY '27. So we're gonna talk plan design and then see if there's enough there, then we might go. If there's not, we might look at the GIC.
Okay.
And do you come back to
So
us
it-
again? Or before it gets approved, or you just negotiate all the way through?
I'll negotiate it through, we'll bring it back and let you know.
As long as
You'll know
it's-
about
It
it
would,
as we
it
get-
would be good to know, like, when you pivot from plan design to
GIC.
a GIC.
Yeah.
I know kind of how you came to that conclusion,
We'll let you know.
It could be
Yeah.
a good kind of just,
We can, I
Not
can
to
bring
reapprove
back-
you, but just an
Yeah,
update.
I can come back with an update, absolutely.
Yeah.
I think especially if it's impacting like the percentages, on what they have to pay and put in.
Yep.
And if the savings is being realized because more is coming out of their pocket, do you see what I mean, right?
Yeah.
It's like,
I
that's the kind of
understand.
thing
If
where it's
you're
well,
talking about the premium split versus
Yeah.
whether we're talking about higher co-pays and deductibles and things like that, right?
yeah,
because what it go up this year, 20% or?
Well, we were carrying 22, and then we'll get to that part of the meeting.
Okay,
We'll
we'll
come
wait,
back to
I'll
it,
wait. We're
But
already,
we had a little good news there recently,
All right.
but
let's,
it's only a little news.
well, keep us posted on it
Yeah.
then, I
Yeah.
think,
So-
just so that
absolutely.
way we're.
Yeah.
So Joe, so we're gonna vote, yeah, so any other comments before we vote? All right, so we'll do a roll call vote. Rosemary,
Rosie Kennedy, aye.
Tom,
John Myers, aye.
Bill Wilson,
Bill Wilson, aye.
Ben,
Ben Blue's eye.
and Bill Olson, aye. All right, so Joe, we asked you, because we, a lot of items on the agenda, we asked you to put priority in case we don't get to some. And so I know that the review, the 5 chairs meeting and review draft warrant articles is gonna take a while. And if we do that as the last item, we don't get to the next one, which of the items below it do we need to get voted on today so you can move forward and it doesn't delay you?
In
Is it-
order, we'd like you to grab the GFOA budget policy
Okay.
and/or the hazard mitigation plan. Both should be really simple and quick. You've already discussed them in the past. Everything else after that isn't necessary to
Okay.
be done tonight. But the GFOA budget policy, you guys reviewed a little bit back in December. The
Yep.
FinCom has since reviewed it and voted favorably for it. It is actually just putting into words what we already do. Wendy is here to speak to if you have any questions, but it's in your packet, it's been reviewed, it's been discussed a little bit already. Again, this helps us with our earning
Did we already have-
GFOA budget presentation status, so.
We already have a discussion about there was one of the numbers I saw in there went from 15,000 to 25,000 for approvals.
That was just because this was like a standard template, so then we just put the amount that falls into the policy for Hamilton.
Did we already have this discussion on that exact?
Yeah, we
item?
did. That's
That's
okay.
what I thought. All
No
right, sorry,
worries.
Wendy. It's like,
It's
it's
right
like this
here.
is now
Right.
sounding very familiar.
So we'll
That
do
was
the,
what
we'll
was
do
in
the
the
motion
template.
first, and we'll have the discussion, just keep fast track here. So do I have a motion to approve the GFOA budget policy?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All right, so further discussions, yes, I mean, I'm fine with it, so I will leave it up to the rest of the board if they have questions, but I think it's important we approve it because it will help, obviously, as we're in budget season, guide us and make sure that we're following correct protocols and procedures, and it comes from a state template, that's correct, right?
That is correct.
That we already went through, yes, and I already read through it, so I'll go around the room. Rosemary, any other questions or comments on the template?
No, I think we had discussed it, and reading it through, it's just as we discussed, so I'm happy with it.
Yeah, I think it's great.
Tom? Any?
Yeah, I don't have any additional comments or questions. I'm happy with it as well.
I mean, are we still on track for all of these dates and 45 days before this and,
Barely, but yeah.
okay. We better approve it.
Yeah, so better prove
I'm
it.
reading through all the, good. It looks
And
great.
Ben, you good? All right, roll call vote. Rosemary?
Rosie Kennedy, aye.
Tom Myers? You're on mute, maybe,
Yeah,
Tom?
mute, Tom.
Tom Myers, aye.
Mr. Wilson?
Bill Wilson, aye.
Ben?
Ben Glue's eye.
And William Olson, aye. All right, and then,
Thank you.
the mitigation plan, before we jump to that one, this is our life safety mitigation plan?
It's a hazard mitigation plan, so it's the federal emergency management authorities or agencies has a standard protocol for how you develop a hazard mitigation plan. And it's an all hazards mitigation plan. We talked about this extensively with the fire chief almost a year ago. It's a very laid out process, a very strict process that the state requires. We hired a consultant to come in and follow the FEMA process. They met with all the prospective boards and committees and department heads that were affected by it, identified all the potential hazards that are known in the town of Hamilton, what our plan is to try to address them. The importance of having this plan is that you cannot apply for federal grant money to try to address these things, and sometimes they can be quite expensive, unless you have an approved and adopted hazard mitigation plan. The plan is approved by FEMA and then adopted by the town. So we went through the whole planning process with the consultants. You endorsed it as developed last spring. Then it went through the process with FEMA. What you have in your packets is the crosswalk they went through to show that it lines up with their expectations, and then they approved it. Now it comes back to you for adoption. There really is nothing in it you can change at this point. You can only either choose to vote to adopt it
Yeah.
or not adopt it. The only
the only
problem of
change
not
last-
adopting it is that you won't be able to apply for
So
future
the only
grant funds.
change, so we're going on record, the only change from the last time we saw it was that FEMA just had to approve it.
Yep,
Okay,
yep.
that's what I was concerned about, 'cause I haven't had a chance to go through
FEMA didn't
it.
really change anything in
Okay.
the plan. They were, our consultants and our local staff had done a really good job. And it lined up with
Did
the.
you present that to us in May or something?
Yeah, it was, Kaplan,
Yeah.
geez, I can picture her face, but I'm forgetting her
Yeah.
first name right now.
Um,
Jamie Kaplan?
yeah.
And, so they're, we just needed to check this box with a vote tonight.
All right, I mean, and one of the things that's in the plan is to also continuously update it and,
Yeah.
you
So
know,
it's a 10-year plan, but we look at it every 5 years, and then we rewrite the plan every 10 years, so.
Okay. So we're 5 years or 4 years away
From doing more work and having another vote.
what if we wanted to update it sooner?
You don't really have to. I wouldn't recommend it. The thing is that the FEMA says that the plan is a living plan. We adopt the plan. It has multiple different layers, things that we measure as of right now that are more imminent and things that we want to address and things that are less important. But we recognize that natural disasters don't happen on our schedule. So if something happens to change it, we can move things around in. As long as it's on the plan and we had a reasonable expectation for where we put it, we can still seek
Yeah, I
funds
think-
to address them.
The only thing that, obviously, we're gonna approve it tonight, but the one thing I did wanna mention is like, cause I remember when we went through it, there was a lot that was very like, kind of, you know, New England focused, historically based, and it all seemed right, like when they presented it, and then we had one of the driest, crispiest drought
Yeah.
summers that we've had, and I was like, hey, I lived in California for a while, and it was like, wow, this is about as crispy as it was getting out there, except we have a lot more foliage and trees and brush and all of the stuff, you know, and so I felt like that's this kind of thing where, I don't know, and probably other towns and other places are gonna be thinking about this, and I don't wanna wait 5 years, you know, if we can start thinking about that this year,
Got
that's
it.
something to,
Yep, wildfire mitigation is one of the things that's in the plan. As you noted, normally New England isn't, it's not that high a priority in New England.
right,
Ben, I don't know if you know this, but one of my first jobs in government when I left newspapers was to work as writing these plans for the Metropolitan Area Planning Council. I wrote eight public hazard mitigation plans for 8 communities in suburban Massachusetts, suburban Boston
Yeah.
area. you can move things around in them, but, you know, last year was an outlier, it's gonna happen to us every 10 or 12 years, but overall, the plan's life is for 10, so we wanna plan for what's most likely to happen in the 10 years, and then we can, as long as it's addressed in the plan, we can seek funds to handle something that's a lower priority. We just need to have a reason for why we put it where it was.
Yeah. All right.
I'm only confused by administratively one thing, but it's just the, there's a section on element G, right? So this is obviously a template that they
Yeah.
fill in, right?
Yep.
And so element G is like high hazard potential dams optional. Well, it's obvious there's no dams in Hamilton, so, but why doesn't it just get deleted? Like, it's just still in here, but it says click or here to, like, that's my like administrative question, like, why don't they just?
I thought they mentioned a dam somewhere up.
The only dam I know is on the Ipswich River, it's technically in Ipswich, but, and it's downstream of us, so I don't know that we have any dams within our borders,
Okay.
that would be affected by it.
Yeah, what it says,
just says
a
optional,
page,
right?
Yeah.
on page,
I don't think we're allowed to remove any sections of the
Right.
plan, we just identify
no,
that
'cause
that's
on
not a
page,
concern for us.
on page 15, it says, added to page 32, high hazard dams are not located in Hamilton. Refer to chapter 4 for additional discussion related to dams and remove tables that list dams, that
Right.
listed dams.
So we don't have the tables, but we have to keep the section in there.
Okay, it's kind of weird how it's, I mean, like, it doesn't affect us, I don't know why it doesn't, like, when it says, like, choose an item and an item's not chosen, it's just administratively, it looks like we didn't, like, I don't know, like, usually you have to, like, do something to the box. So that's my only
Or
question.
just NA or something.
Right, yeah.
But element G might, you know, they don't want us to make element G the next one, because G has
Right.
the same meaning in every community.
Right, so it's like elementary, but it's just like.
But it should say NA.
NA, right? That's my like question, Joe, so can you just make a note, we can still approve it, but just administratively, like, if the things are not applicable, instead of having it be like a pull-down menu, can you just say NA?
No, we can put a dam in somewhere.
Hydroelectric, make some power.
Yeah.
All right, so do a did I do a motion?
No, we
Joe?
need a motion first, motion to adopt
Oh, yeah, 'cause I didn't
the
want.
hazard mitigation.
Okay, do I have a motion to
I move that
adopt?
we adopt the 2025 Hamilton Hazard Mitigation Plan.
Second.
Second,
Any further discussion? So, 2025 is okay? Doesn't need to be the 2027,
Because
2026?
that's how it was approved by
Okay.
FEMA.
Gotcha,
So you
okay.
can't change it.
And
now.
it's good for 10 years, but
It's
we
good for 10
can.
years.
All right, roll call vote. Rosemary,
Rosie Kennedy, aye.
Tom Myers,
Tom Myers, aye.
Bill Wilson,
Bill Wilson, aye.
Ben,
Ben Gluza, aye.
and William Wilson, aye.
This in no way affects rates of insurance and stuff, right? It's
No.
just-
Yeah, we talked about this a while ago. It's like all coming back to me.
Yeah.
That's me, yeah.
All right, so we're gonna go to the last topic of the night and do a review of the 5 board and 5 chairs meeting and review draft proposals. So I will start with Joe's help and kind of give a quick review of. So we had a 5 boards meetings. Now it was two weeks ago tomorrow, Wednesday. Yes.
Yep.
And in that meeting, we all had the opportunity to present our budget and defend our budget, sort of independently. And so Wenham went first, and Hamilton went, and then the school board went. And the way that Wenham presented their budget was that they said, this is our budget in fiscal year 2026, and based on revenue and based on this, our budget's going to go up we have 5.49% more revenue than we did last year. So our budget can go up 5.49% and still be below the levy limit. And then they said, if the town budget goes up 5.49%, it's X. And if the school budget goes up 5.49%, it's Y, right? Mm-hmm. And then they took that and compared it to what the town's asking, what the school's asking for. And the school was asking $832,000 in excess of that budget. And the town, together it was $832,000. The school was asking, my numbers are round, but the school was asking for like $523,000 and above that access which would be override. And the town was like at like $232,000, okay? And they said, we don't think we can get to 232, but we can look at that. But we don't think the school can get, so we're probably gonna have to have an override. And that's kind of like they left it. But we're both putting money into that override bucket. And then when we got to Hamilton, we said, listen, we spend historically data-driven trends. Historically, 59 to 60% of our budget over the many years has gone to the town. 60% has gone, And it's crept up over years, and it's a trend that we have to stop, because if we keep creeping it up, eventually it's just not gonna be sustainable. Well, then we sort of got accused of basing our budget on 40%. And I said, no, we don't base the budget 40%. When we do the budget, it's a trend, it's a data point. It's not a planning tool, it's a trending tool, right?
Right.
Couldn't quite convince them that that's how we do things, right? Because what happened is that if you do it that way, the school budget from last year to this year can only go up like $100,000, because we used free cash to lower that by $550,000 last year. It's really $650,000, not $100,000, because we used free cash. And they said, well, why'd you use free cash? We didn't tell you that. We go, well, we used free cash because we were trying to avoid having and so the difference, we explained the difference was our town budget didn't go up by $552,000 more than we could afford, and we used free cash to pay for that. That's not what happened. Our budget's exactly where it should be, but we lowered it by $552 so the schools could have an extra $552. We didn't use it to solve our own problem. We used it to solve the school problem, and we can't do that this year, right? That's kind of how we explained it. So it was the conversation was not heated, but it was uncomfortable.
It was pointed.
It was an uncomfortable conversation. The school
Little
committee's
hostile.
the school committee's opinion was that it's one big town. We should go all in together, and we should just, if this is what you need, you ask for what you need. Don't cut your budget, because it's like we were saying, if you can't afford it, you can't afford it. The schools committee was like, well, if you need it, you have to ask for it. Right. We're like, well, we don't really buy by the point if you need it, like, because if you can't afford it, then you're gonna have to find another way to do it, right? So we said we would sort of go away and think about Wenham's approach, and if we could sort of be part of the process, right? And so we went back, and then we sort of agreed, and not everybody, I know people have talked one-on-one, but sort of our compromise, and then they wanted to have one vote, right? One vote, put everything together in one vote with the override. And so then 2 days later, we had a 5 chairs meeting, or next week we had a 5 chairs meeting. And so what Joe and I know Joe had talked to some people, but what we came up with as a compromise was, we did not believe in one vote if we're going to be an override, because we do not want the town to not have an approved budget at the end of town meeting. We think that is not fair to our citizens to not have a budget that's approved. So our compromise was that we either separate the two completely, right? Or if we combine them at the levy limit. So we say, at the levy limit, the town gets X and the school gets Y. And this is what you get and this is what you give up. The second vote would be a combined override of town services that we want above and beyond what we can afford, and school services they want above and what they can afford. So if that passes, then everybody gets the override. If it fails, then you have to go back to the original budget. So we went and looked at our town budget, Joe did with the team, and we at the time had come up with like $320,000 of cuts that we could say, okay, and this is what
Things that we
this
could
is
put on an override.
This is Joe's spreadsheet. This is now 502, but it was originally like 325. Okay, and Joe said, hey, these are things that we could give up, but we'd put them on the override. We still want them, so if we can convince our community to go for an override, they get these additional services which we think the town needs, but if they can't afford, and the school will do the same thing with theirs. Okay, we haven't seen what their list looks like. We had a meeting, and our FinCom director asked us more for like $500,000. Can you come up with $500,000 things that you set aside for the override, and the school would come to $1 million, so you have like 500 and $1 million, right? Because really, the override's going to be somewhere around $1.5 million, right? And so Joe came up with the concept to cut trash every
let's
other
give
week.
credit,
Yeah.
Wendy and I, and
Yeah.
several discussions with other department heads, and the biggest, particularly of the biggest departments, Public Works, Police, are contributing heavily here to this solution. So I don't want to take full credit. It's a team effort.
So that out of $500,000, we have a communications position which we would not fill next year. Something that we've been asking for and dying for, to have better communication to help our town, right? It's something we all want to do. It's part of his goals, right? That's $50,000. We would not hire a new patrolman.
Just on the communications, that also is coming from citizens, like of asking us to do that.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
not
Right.
just us coming up with it, just to make it clear.
A patrolman, that we would not add a patrolman. We wouldn't add a public safety. We would eliminate the greeter. So we talked about doing 1.5 FTEs, we would just do one FTE. Okay, we get rid of the half FTE.
Right.
Okay.
DPW, cemetery, that's a position that we talked about tonight that's not currently filled. Okay, that gets you 261. Our health insurance actually came in lower than it was, so that's another 61, which gets you to the 320. And then,
So we get that anyway.
yeah, get that anyways, right?
Yeah.
And then we would get $180,000 in savings if we went to, like we used to, back in the day, we had trash every other week, right? So if we went to, set as a use tax and once again, if the town votes for the override, they get trash every week. But if
This
they don't
would
vote
be
for the
recycling.
override,
Yeah.
we can only afford trash every other week, right? So it's,
Recycling or trash?
This says recycling.
This is, it's
Oh.
recycling.
Oh, this-
It was recycling because
oh, this
they're-
is recycling,
the new-
sorry,
The
I
new
read that
trash
wrong.
card, yeah, no, it's okay. Can I
yes, go
pick up
ahead.
from there? Okay, so, yeah,
Well, no,
so-
you can go there. But one more
Before
thing.
we do,
Wait,
like,
before we
go-
do that, let me tell you the rest of the story. Then Wenham came back and Wenham says, we can cut $235,000 from our budget. We're not going to put anything on the override. We're basically, all the override's only going to be the school. So Wenham's basically going to go in and say, we want 2 votes. We want
So
the.
now they want to do two.
Well, no, they want.
Because
No,
of
they
their-
want to do what we want to do. They want to do what you can afford at the levy limit, and then they want to have the override vote.
But they're not gonna have
But they're
anything
not
on the
going to have any
override vote.
town items on the override vote because they think they can get rid of everything.
Where I'm confused is that my understanding was when we took the school out of our budget, is this, like you just explained this, and I'm sorry, I just couldn't follow it. But, so I'm gonna try to say it back and see how wrong I get it. My understanding when we met last time, I didn't make it to the 5 boards meeting, but when we met 2 weeks ago, my understanding was if we take the school out of the picture, we could live within our means at the 2.5%.
Yeah, I thought that too.
Yeah.
At the 40%.
At the 40%, and that's,
Yeah.
that's what we were saying.
And so like that's where I'm just sort of like, well, if we take school out of the picture for a second, and it's sort of like, and these are our historical norms, and these are the things that allow us to achieve like our goals and what we say is like a level service, like then we're at.
But we're making
at
up the
two.
40%. There's no
Yeah,
law.
no, but
there's
forget
no
the,
written-
I see
yeah,
why they
right,
didn't like
yeah,
the 40
yeah, yeah.
that way, but I know, I get why you said the 40. Did anything change from the budget you presented to us that I thought was within our means, like that this from the
Well, so,
community?
I mean,
house? Did this number go up to come
No.
up with this?
No.
Okay,
No.
so the total piece of the pie
Right.
is the same, and you're just taking stuff that was itemized in here
Right, and putting it
and
on
calling
the
it out
override,
into
sharing
here to
it on
say
the
if we
override.
have to
Yeah.
cut.
Yeah,
And our FinCom said to increase that to 500,
Right.
which is pulling in the recycle thing, which to me is the difference. And I don't ever recall talking about a budget that changed our frequency of picking up anything.
okay, so I can give you a couple points on that. So, first of all, the recycling collection change. So we're in the midst of negotiating the new contract that begins July 1st of '26 and goes for the next 5 years. We got a new rate for what it costs for curbside pickup, both for trash and, for trash, recycling, and composting. And then we get the new rate for what it costs them to do the recycling at their plant. They take the composting somewhere else, and they take the trash to the incinerator, so there's no cost from Casella on that, we just transferring it to them. With the new automated trucks that they want to bring into town, part of the new plan would be they would give us new 96-gallon recycling totes. And so a 96-gallon tote is much larger than what we currently, people put out on the curbside on recycling days, unless they've gone and bought their own tote at Home Depot. For the most part, what we give them is that big blue tote. That's what the people get for free. With the new larger tote and the amount of money that it costs to recycle at their plant, we thought that we could save some money by cutting down the number of times we pick up recycling to half. So the trucks would still be going around every week. They'd be taking trash and compost every week, but they'd only be picking up recycling every other week. And that would, we estimated half. That 180 is probably going to come down a little bit. We haven't got the new number from Casella yet, but we told them what we were thinking, and they're supposed to get us a new number. They didn't have it to us before today, so we estimated half of what the total cost for pickup of recycling is. There is some
Take
precedent.
the same amount of volume. They're
Yeah.
just taking it.
Every
So that's where
hour.
I'm just
Right.
kind of like, can they still fit it all in their trucks? if
Yeah, but
everybody's
it's
twice
the
as
number of
much
times that they have to have a truck, pay for a truck to come up and down.
Because
all
your
the streets to
assumption
pick
is
up.
most people have the smaller bucket,
Right.
and so the truck really capacity probably will hit it. But I don't know. I mean, I bought the bigger bucket.
So there is some precedent, there is some
But you
precedent,
should encourage me to do that, right?
there is some precedent for there is some precedent for the every other week too. None of you folks were on the board at the time, But when we went in, Rosie and Bill were, when, just prior to COVID, the town had gone to every other week trash collection. And in the off weeks, you could put out a blue bag, but you weren't gonna get your trash picked up for free.
Yeah.
And we were tracking that, and that was a move towards getting more people to use composting before the town adopted mandatory composting. And once COVID happened, that became untenable just because the amount of time people were at home
Yeah.
and the amount of trash they were generating because they were at home all day. And so the residents asked, and the select board said, we will go back to every other week till we get through the pandemic, and then we'll revisit it. Well, we never revisited it.
Yeah.
So there has been some precedent in the town of Hamilton in the past to take components of the trash, curbside collection, and make them every other week. And we thought, if we're looking to save $180,000 without hurting the delivery of other services in town, without laying off, and the problem with laying off is that when you lay off, you have to incur the expense for unemployment. So you almost have to lay off 2 to get the value of 1. And so we didn't want to cut that deep. We got to 320, and we thought, well, if we can make this 180 number work around the trash collection project. Like I said, that's probably not going to be the full 180 after we talk to Casella. It might be more like 160 or something, but we'll be in the ballpark. We thought that that would be a way to be able to not have to lay people off and hurt delivery of other town services. We could give them the option. Everybody will have the big new tote. It shouldn't be that big a deal to put off recycling once a week. It's not the
let me
stinking
ask
stuff
this
that they don't want to keep around the house for 2 weeks.
Right, but our strategy is there's things that we're just gonna cut from the budget and never talk about again and live without it. There's things we're gonna cut from the budget, but we're gonna say, however, if you want it, vote for the override.
Right.
So my question to you, Joe, is this something that you're gonna say we should live without it and not put it in the budget, or should we say,
No,
give our town people the opportunity to vote for it on the override?
I say these are things we should give the townsfolk opportunity to vote for. The idea here is that these are still all things that the board had, and the select board and the FinCom had said to us as administration, we want to provide these things, right? We wanted to be able to, we need to be able to add a new police officer at some point because the reserve.
Risky.
It's gonna be risky no matter what, but the problem is you
No,
identify
it's-
ahead of time what type
Well-
of services people lose, or do you just wait for them to reject your budget and then
Some
surprise
people
them?
might feel, the reason why I say it feels risky is that sort of like, some people might feel like, well, I barely generate any, and like, fine by me, we should be doing this anyway. don't
Right, I thought
need
you
the
wanted me to
override.
recycle and compost.
Right.
and all that. It seems contrary to the message that we're trying to give, and I get the whole, oh, it's a bigger canister, we know better, you're gonna fill that, you have a place to keep it in your garage, side your house. It's not gonna get-
I don't.
I know, I'm being sarcastic there, because I want nothing to do with saying we're going back to every other on any of it. Because I think it's I got a.
I have
there
more
was- I was
recycling than
here
you.
then, and
Then
there was a
vote for
lot
the
of
then vote for
unhappy
the
people.
override.
Well, so we're throwing that out there, like, and why did the FinCom drive us to get to 500 versus the number? I
That's
think
where
you
it's like
added.
if
That question I can't answer.
This
But,
is-
but I mean, you
if the
talk to this
60-40
board right now, like, we could go in with our number minus that. you
But if
know?
the 60-40 is arbitrary,
It's arbitrary.
then if that's.
It's a
so-
trend. All this is a trend.
Right. And then, so like, I understand the messaging
What's
now,
not
sort of-
arbitrary is our budget from last year to this year, not going up more than 4.5%. So Joe's gonna look at that.
Yeah, but then, so then the
Right.
budgets all
And
go
that's
up
more.
next year with, say, the
Right.
override passes, then does that 40 goes up, right?
Well, that's what the school said. The school said, well, then it doesn't. I go,
Yeah, you're
exactly,
right
you're
on
making
their
my
back.
point. We're
Right.
not gonna be out
Right.
of trend.
I just
Right.
don't agree, I don't like that as a line item. And I'm not sure, it's the first time I've heard us talk about, I know there was increases, if I go in here, there was, what was the line, what did you put? You had an increase in there, I don't know, it was 180,000,
$332,000.
$332,000.
just
Yeah,
for
just for
trash
trash,
pickup.
yeah.
So you're saying now you would cut services instead of getting the new contract?
Yeah, 'cause it went up $332,000. Went up a significant amount, 30%.
Then we should do an RFP out there. That's
We're not gonna
ridiculous.
we're not gonna go lower price than that. Republic already told one of what they were thinking in the ballpark, and it was more than what Casella was doing.
So, okay, all right. So you're taking half of that, that's how you came up with the amount, okay.
Yeah.
That's a tough one, because I'm,
So.
but I get
just-
it, I'd rather see that than actual heads and things of
Well, that's
that
the thing.
nature.
What do you gotta cut something?
What else is there, that's it
Yeah.
though, I mean, like, right to the recycle.
At the end of the day, if we go forward with an override, and the override doesn't pass, something is getting cut. So you have to decide what it is you wanna put on,
The chopping block.
you wanna put up for consideration. You know,
Why,
and
why
I-
wouldn't we just say like?
All right,
well,
I get you.
guess I don't understand.
I get you.
I'm failing on the logic when it comes to the town services. Like, I'm not able to understand the logic. I think that it's sort of like, if the override doesn't past, then what the school has, like, the negotiated position currently, what the school has said is basically we're all going in as one thing, right? So like I don't see it as, I'm failing to understand the distinction of like.
I'm trying to understand what you're asking. Ask the question.
Last
Ask me a
time we
question, I'll
met,
answer it.
right, last time we met, it was, all right, we go in with the town budget, you know, and it's sort of like that can pass on its own, then we go in with the school budget, and then that can pass on its own if it, so that way, we've managed the risk, and it's sort of like, and we've maintained our level of service, was like kind of how we were framing it and talking about it, versus cutting services. And
Okay, so let me put it in a different way. Let's say the town budget, let's say the school budget voted first. Let's say
Yeah.
they voted first on the warrant article. It passes.
Yeah,
Now there's not enough money.
Now
to
there's not
pass
enough
the
money
town
for
budget.
us.
right,
Now there's not enough money
So-
to pass the town budget.
because the 60-40 is arbitrary,
Because 6 is arbitrary.
right?
So,
Because they're saying, well, this is what we need. Our level of service
Yeah, is
cannot drop below this. They're
Right,
saying,
right.
so this where I'm going with it is that if we both believe, well, the school committee believes that this is maintaining like the same level of service. We believe that this is maintaining the same level of service, and it just sucks that costs have gone up, and it happens to be based on the way money has moved around over the past couple of years that the school is seeing a bigger percentage increase.
Right.
So if then next year though we're back to 60-40, like if we all just said, well, hell, this is the stuff we need, and we're back in terms of our metrics, we're then back at parity because we're not moving money around.
We're not ever going to be 60-40 because of the because of the state funding went down and the bargaining agreements whatever went up, right?
So the new trend is that the 60-40 is not going to hold moving forward. It's going to be more like 65-35, and that's the new
whatever.
reality.
we're trying to stay away from
61-39.
We did have, Wendy and I looked back beyond the last 3 years, and there was a year about 6 years ago, or 5.5 years ago, that they, it was actually 63% for them, and then it readjusted the next year. That's the problem. When you have a year where their percent is bigger, you have to almost make it up the next year, and that's kind of what we're facing this year.
So I guess if the metrics are re-baselining, right, like where it's sort of like we're going to be living on our new baseline moving forward, and that is just the nature of the way our schools are organized in this town and what is happening with the costs that they're seeing in their budgets. But like our board agrees, it's like, well, we think this maintains a level of service that maintains our goals and our objectives for a town. Then I think we're back to the point where it's like, well, we just go in for one thing. And especially if when
It really
doing
does
something
seem
completely
like
different.
it's potato here.
So-
I mean, what you are
But if it
doing,
doesn't
you're giving your
our
base
issue doesn't
budget,
pass,
you're giving your
right,
base budget,
right.
right? Less recycling
Right.
once a week, every other week. But, and then we have to go through the whole, everyone that's got to cut. And
Right.
it's $1 million for the schools,
Right.
500 for us, and maybe nothing
Right.
for Wenham, right?
I asked Wyndham point blank if they're going to put anything on the override on the town side, and they said most likely not.
Because they don't care about whatever percent they were.
And I'm like, why wouldn't you do it? If you're going to go through override anyways, why wouldn't you ask for things you're giving up?
Yeah.
We didn't really get a straight answer out of
So
them. for that,
they're just cutting and saying, we're just gonna live without these things. And instead of saying, like, we think that you need these things and we're gonna give you the opportunity to help us raise the money for them. And if the voters say no, then you don't raise the money for them. There are things in our budget that we've already cut that we're not gonna ask for. These are the things that I think that we should ask for.
Joe, so can I just ask a question here? So the first budget, where there is not an override, we're just saying this is what we can afford to give the schools, this X money, and our budget will allow us to do what we think is important for the town. And so if that passes, that passes. Everybody goes away happy.
Right.
Until plan. Now, if that passes, what happens with the override vote? Will there still be the override?
It'll be two votes.
Two articles.
It'll be two articles, and it would be presented in kind of two levers. So we would say the base budget that we're asking you to pass, that would provide the basic services for the town and the minimum.
Not level services anymore, but
No,
basic services.
basic services, not level service.
Right.
Basic services
Right.
for the town and a minimum, less than minimum, because it would be a cut. If
Well,
the
that's where I
school-
feel like we're starting at the wrong baseline then, right? You know, if it's sort of like if the mission
Wait,
is level
wait,
service.
let me-
Yeah, Rosie, go ahead.
No, I just wanted to say, just continue to explain that
So,
to
so
me.
we'd be saying, first vote is to cover, you know, a base budget for the town that isn't
Right.
even level service, and a base budget for the schools, which isn't even their level service. And then we'd have a second vote to say, do you want to have level service? And the level service would include the things that are on this list. And if you vote, if you want to have level services, you say yes. If you don't want to have level services, then these are the things that you won't have in FY '27.
Okay. And so,
You had me up until recycling.
Yeah.
Because you also told me that one comment from the one FinCom member told you to raise your number. Otherwise, that wasn't on there. So I want to know why that.
No,
what
so we never
were-
really,
when
never,
you
we
left
never
the
really,
five.
we never really got to a number that we, because I still understand the procedural process where, let's say we have $30 million on our levy limit, right? And we go first, and we want a $20 million budget, and we vote separately in the school, and we voted a $20 million budget. We're good.
Right, done.
Then the school only gets 10 million. It's like this procedure doesn't make, you can't do it that way.
So,
You can't just say what you want and vote first.
Bill, what I guess I'll
Okay.
try to
But
convince
we-
you of on the recycling is this. So, the $180,000. There are, Wendy and I talked with other department heads about several other positions that like, if we had to cut, what would that look like? And it winds up, in order to get $180,000, I gotta lay off probably 3 people.
and if they need to.
And those are people that are in jobs now, doing work for us that gets done every year. And so not only does it have the human impact of laying somebody off in a
Things don't get
job,
done.
but then that stuff doesn't get done going forward.
And
And honestly, if I gotta find $180,000, I will tell you that every other week recycling isn't that big of a heartache. But
I don't think
it's
I would.
$180,000. I don't know that it's worth $180,000.
If we're
So
going
people
that
can't put
direction,
another
like-
bucket out. Oh, they won't even come by.
They
But they'll
won't.
take
They'll
the,
take the trash to the compost.
because sometimes they don't with the blue buckets if it's pulled in. I know. Anyway, another.
So, yeah.
I still am stuck with the increase though from a comment though. Like you're saying, like weren't we within? Like Wenham was able to say I can get within our number within our limits, and I thought our number to get within our limits was I thought we got there actually.
We were working
Well,
different, we were working different
I
I
numbers.
thought we were there.
We were
I thought
working different
because I've
numbers.
always even I've
But
even
we were
said
looking
to
at
you,
numbers
we were
differently.
using the 40%
We were
as a-
looking at numbers differently than they were looking at numbers. I could just, Wendy and I tried
so the
really
40% thing
hard
was,
to make our budget work in the way they were describing it. It
in the
just
school
doesn't.
If you take the 40%, if you took where we were last time and you took the $500,000 of free cash, you know, our budget went up like 8 or 9%. It didn't go up 4%, it went up 8 or 9. Well, our funding source didn't go up 8 or 9%. It only went up 4%. So we were, even though we were playing at the 40%, we still were over what the normal increase would have been because we used the free cash last year. So the free cash really screwed us over
And
it
to
did,
be
but
clear,
we
we
weren't having
didn't.
this discussion 2 weeks ago. It feels like to me.
because we were really because if someone had brought up in that meeting, so you're telling me the school budget's only going to go up $100,000, we would have said, yeah, it doesn't really make sense. And you know who brought that up was Eric did. I looked at he was right. Our school, we basically told the school, we gave you 17 million last year. We're going to give you 17.1 million this year. We only gave them another 100,000. And meanwhile, we were getting ourselves another million. So the town was getting $1 million. They were getting
Well, was some of
100,000.
that due to the allocation?
Yeah, it
Yeah.
was
I mean, it's
returning,
not all-
it was returning to, it was
'Cause we're trying to return it back.
We were trying to return to what had been historically, accurate. We did a couple things last year with free cash. Again, there were things that we were allowed to do. We didn't break any of our financial policies, but you can use one-time monies like free cash, for instance, to make payments to our retirement fund. We don't usually. We usually raise and appropriate it. But last year, we were trying to avoid the override, and we said, look, we've got the money this year. Let's do this so we don't have to take it from raise and appropriate. That way that the levy can stay strictly on actual this year operating stuff. So everybody agreed to that. And at the same time we were doing that, the school was also spending $2 million of excess and deficiency money. Well, that money's gone now, on our side and on theirs. So I don't have the money to go back to free cash to do the retirement fund thing this year. And the schools don't have $2 million of excess and deficiency to go back to suppress their assessment. So we have to raise and appropriate. Once we do that, and you start to split along those 60-40 lines, now you're really disadvantaging the schools to the tune of, you know, the whole thing was 1.6, but you could make the argument that $1 million of that is because of what we were doing last year.
Yeah, but think,
So Joe, can I just follow up here, just so that I understand? The more I listen to this conversation, the more confused I'm getting. But, so if we've also, okay, so there are going to be two articles with budgets, and the first one will be where we don't have an override. Is that going to be just our budget, or are we going to also include in that budget what we think we can afford to give the schools?
Right, the second thing.
Okay,
It would be
okay.
our budget that I presented 2 weeks ago minus the things that are on the sheet.
Okay.
Our budget
yeah.
minus the things that are on the sheet and what we think we can give the schools. And that would give both sides a baseline budget that if the override failed on Thursday, we at least know we have some amount of money we can start FY '27 with.
That peaks, that gets to the levy limit with no override.
Yeah, that's smart. That's smart to do.
Yeah, right, okay, and then, well, all right, and then if people say yes, they want to do that, then why would there even need to be an override vote? Just sort of playing it out here.
Because that's only base services, it's not level services.
Right.
So the override gets you to level services. There's a lot of sacrifices both the school and the town would need to
Right,
make.
of course.
Right.
But if we explain that, as I'm sure people will do before the initial vote, and that's approved, I'm just wondering why we would need to have the override service, the override vote, if we already have an approved budget and approved amount we're giving to the school.
Because the approved amount that you have would still require the town to cut $500,000 and the schools to cut $1 million plus.
Yeah, that
And
first
that way,
warrant
and on the
article is
school
gonna be
side,
minus 500.
and on the school side, that would probably, what I've been told by the administration is that to get to the $1.5 million override is 22 positions. So for a $1 million school override is probably on the order of 12 to 15 somewhere, depending on which positions. And those teaching positions, they've already made cuts to non-teaching positions and supplies and.
They've already
goods.
cut six.
Yeah, well, they can defend their budget. I mean, I'm not questioning anything that they do. They feel they need this override. We feel that it's just putting the noose too tightly around taxpayers' throats. So, it's fine. They can make their argument. I'm just asking the question sort of procedurally. If we pass this vote with the money we have for this, that we've allotted to the schools, why do we have to have a second vote? Is it,
Because
I don't really understand that procedurally. And you could just explain it very quickly because I know we want to move on.
yeah, it's because, Rosa, it's because we need the money to have level services. So we want to give our town the ability to say, yes, we want to pay for the override because we want level services. And so we have to have that vote. Because if we don't have that vote, then we're not giving the town the option to have level service.
Okay. But if they vote for it, then they are giving us an answer to what they want.
Yep.
Correct.
Right.
And then we'll have the
So
override.
that,
I mean, one of the things that I've wrestled with here is, you come up in this field and you do this work for a long time, you always think that 2.5, you have to stay under the 2.5, you have to stay under the 2.5. But at its base, what Proposition 2.5 really did is it set a maximum that you could go to without going to taxpayers. It didn't say you could never go above 2.5, that you could never raise an override. It said that in order to do it, you had to ask the taxpayers. The town has avoided going to the taxpayers since 2009 and asking for additional money. I think that's a credit to myself and to all the department heads and all the boards and committees and all those that came before me between 2009 and now. This year, in the current economic conditions that we're facing, everybody knows the state of the economy beyond our borders. With inflation for the last 4 years going up and other things affecting it.
Right.
Though that inflationary demand was initially met by people raising salaries across the board. Eventually that came to the municipalities and we raised our salaries more in the last couple of years than we had in the 10 years previous to that. We now have to pay that bill. If you want to continue to have the services from those same people, it's more money this year than it has been in the past. So
I mean, we could kind
I don't disagree with that. I'll just make this, sort of the statement that where does it end? I mean, like everybody's being squeezed from everywhere. There has to be a word, no, we can't afford it. It just, I'm sorry that everybody can't have everything they want. You know what? I can't have everything I want. It's just, we have to be strong enough and to let people know it's okay if you feel that we have gone to the well and dug a ditch 6 feet into the well. You just can't keep saying, well, we need this, we need this, we need this. It just makes me okay, that's all.
This is a step towards doing that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
this,
but
yeah, and we agree with you, we're doing that.
Yeah.
And the
we
voters
agree
can
with
say
you.
no, and if the voters say no,
The
then we
voters can
live,
say no.
then we
So-
live with what we have.
I wanna
So what
understand
happens
this
if they
more,
say
though.
no, just on that, is so then the 502 gets voted on separately,
So the goal would be to include the things that would be on the override that would be.
together?
Together.
Or not separate?
Not separate.
Okay.
So we're still gonna have just two votes, two articles,
So
and then
1.5
one override
and
vote,
then-
right, 1.5, and then,
So the second one for us would be an override as well,
Yeah,
right?
it would be, yeah, I mean, it would be.
I want to make
included
sure I
all
understand
together.
this
ahead.
very clearly. Like, so we're going in with basically what is, there's a basic budget which represents cutting staff, right? For the school committee is doing that.
We let
and
them
we
speak
are
for
doing
themselves,
that.
but yes, that's our
Yes,
assumption.
right? Like, I mean,
Yeah.
I want to have like
Yeah.
real clarity on that.
Well, the school can give you clarity. We're not gonna have it tonight.
Well,
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah.
So that's my understanding anyway. Is
Right,
that
but
they
we don't-
already are
right.
cutting staff, like that basic one, right? And then if we go for the override, which represents a certain percentage increase above 2.5, 4% or something, then they get to keep the staff that they have.
And so
The
we-
staff that they're proposing on the budget, they're still cutting 7 staff.
They're still cutting 7. So even then,
Yeah.
they're still cutting 7 staff. They're
Correct,
not
yeah.
keeping their staffing levels. the
7
same.
people there today, not head count.
If
like
they
what
get the
you're talking
override
about.
up passed, they still are losing their FTEs by
Seven.
6.7 or 7.1 or something like that. There's a whole chart that they gave out.
And, yeah, right.
So, I mean, so they believe that cut, like I just were, sorry that wasn't there, and then
Mm-hmm.
just too much travel lately, but they believe that cut of, 6 or 7 staff members, FTEs, they're able to maintain a level service while doing that.
Right,
Correct, yes.
right.
But if they don't get
But if
that
they don't-
override, then they're gonna cut
Then they
another
level of teachers.
Yeah, and
or
they're gonna have
staff.
bigger classrooms.
bigger classes.
Less options, less.
And this is all after they just had this like kind of like big turnaround too at one of the schools, at one of the elementary schools, of like improving quality, probably getting kids back to where they need to be.
So,
So just so I
Thank
understand
you,
this too,
Joe,
it's like,
and Bill, for your patience. It
No.
just,
so
it's
since
just
2000,
very
No, it's a
confusing,
tough,
and I
it's a
appreciate-
tough math problem, a tough word problem, because
Yeah.
there's no mathematical equation for what percentage we get and what percentage the school gets. Like all you can do is
Yeah.
look at trends. And so that's what we try to do, is look at trends and look at increases. And so we try to look at it a couple different ways. We haven't decided, we haven't voted as a group, but the recommendation that I have made is that we should, we were cutting 320, now it's 500. Like, yes, that was because the FinCom said it.
Yeah, I
I haven't
don't
looked at
get
the
that.
numbers on what that does in terms of percent markups from last year to this year. But it'd be good to see that maybe, but the theory is the same. Whether it's 320 or 500, the theory is the same. We're gonna give stuff up and say we can't afford it, but if you wanna afford it, then you gotta vote for it. And if the town speaks and it's a majority,
It really
Or is it-
doesn't matter.
So
If you're
it's a
consolidating-
majority at town meeting for either one.
Yeah.
And then the override is obviously majority at the polls.
at the polls, right? So it's 2 votes, right? You have to vote at town meeting and you gotta vote at the ballot box.
And
The
if they're
school
combined, it
budget
doesn't matter
is,
on the-
I thought a school budget was 2/3, and the town budget.
The school capital stuff, but I don't think it's a 2/3.
No.
It's not a 2/3 vote to
No,
pass
it's
the
majority.
budget. Majority vote to
majority.
pass the budget.
So we're gonna
And
meet,
can-
so I have the 5
Can
chairs.
people pull stuff out of a budget if
Yeah,
they
they
see
say
line
hold.
items?
They
Like,
say
should
hold.
somebody
They
stand
can
on the
so-
floor
yeah,
and say,
they
hold.
hell no
Pull
on
this,
this?
yeah, pull this, and if they get if that amendment is approved on the town meeting floor, then we have to subtract out, Wendy's gonna have to come with her old accountant style tape
Abacus.
and figure out what the running tally is as people vote to take things off, but, yeah.
I mean, that's the
That's
thing was.
interesting. So a resident could make a motion to cut things out of our budget or out of the school budget?
Yep,
Wow.
and then we have to
we could
identify what
vote
that
each
results
one of
in.
these things separately if we wanted to.
not doing that.
I just don't think
Only
it's
if
a
you
good
wanna be
idea.
there all
But we
week.
could literally vote for each item
If you want to
separately.
be there all weekend, I don't think
Yeah,
that's a
they
good
can,
idea.
now that we're laying it out, I mean, I don't think we've laid out this much detail, at least on the override piece, right? I mean, well, could they have gone in an appendix and said, I wanna pull out?
Yeah, you remember they could say hold? Remember they asked
Yeah,
like
they
hold, they
hold.
go through each one, hold.
Yeah,
No one
yeah,
hold,
yeah.
but you could.
Have we ever held items in an operating budget?
Not in my time here.
I don't recall that. but
So,
capital
and
stuff.
the other part of this is that there's still going to be a debt exclusion, which is another term for an override for the roof, right?
Yeah. Did you
I
talk
mean,
about that?
4.4
We
million
did.
from Hamilton. Let's not forget that.
No, we have not forgot it. That's been a lot of my pushback on the override piece was that, you know, asking for $1.5 million override.
Plus
And
another
the same
four.
there, that you're asking for 4.5 on a debt exclusion, really hurts the chances of
Plus
either.
We're paying for the athletic fields now, a
That
million
vote's
a
already,
year.
that vote's already taken.
No,
We can't
but-
undo that one, but.
Well,
know,
no,
but
I'm
the-
just saying, those are all
Yep.
current
Right.
debts
Yep.
in the past year, and it adds up.
Yep.
And the tax rate, it all adds up.
Yep. It does.
Speaking of roofs,
So do,
What's
yeah.
that?
speaking of roofs, we were gonna circle back on that.
Yes. So we have another meeting on Thursday
It's
morning.
Thursday morning at 8 o'clock.
For
It's
the
5 chairs.
Five chairs meeting.
What's the
Would you
intent
like
on
me
that
to communicate anything other, differently than what, like, what would you like to me to communicate? And we can talk about it one-on-one, or we can talk about it now, but what do you, right now where we sit is that we're somewhere between, you know, putting between $300,000 and $500,000 on the override, and still demanding two votes, one that we can afford and one that allows the citizen to vote for level service and override. Are we have a consensus, that's what we should do?
I love the idea. I just, again, I'm back to, I don't understand it just sounds better, 1,500,000 versus what the actual numbers were.
I don't know where it came from, but it was
I don't understand how that just like shifted like so quickly and became you know.
Well,
Honestly,
we arbitrarily came
it
up
did-
with 320. I
I'm
mean, it
not
wasn't like our.
convinced
It's
that
like,
the getting recycling picked up every 2 weeks is that great of an idea. Like, I don't understand.
it
how
used to
that
be like
works.
that, just so you know.
It was trash.
It was
It
like-
wasn't never recycled.
No, it was recycling. It was
I thought it was
originally
only
Yeah, I
recycling.
thought it was that the
No.
brown buckets
It
were
was the
every
brown
other
bucket,
week.
because we were trying to drive to composting and recycling. It-
And the
it-
recycling.
I'm just the
Never
amount of
recycled.
recycling that I have piled
It
up
was.
every week.
Oh,
is
that's my
significant.
biggest bucket.
Like,
I have two,
yeah.
and that I'm not trying. I'm just thinking, and it's not even that. I don't care.
You know, if you
I'll
want to tell
bury
me
it
to
in
go,
the
if you want
backyard.
to tell me to go work on it, and we'll take that one.
No,
any
all I
other,
want to
can come
know
up with
is what
something
was the
else. It's
logic
just-
to go from
To get our
the number you guys thought was
to get
right.
ours under 4%, like our increase from last year under 4%. That was the logic. Not to be at the 40%, but to have our
I guess,
increase
like-
from year after year to be less than 4%.
That was the 320-ish.
I don't. Well,
It's-
I didn't
it's
see
the
the final
500
one.
gets us under the 4.
Yeah, the 500 gets us under the 4.
Oh, I see.
I see.
It's a year-over-year increase rather than the 40-60 split.
So we're just, you know, the items that are on here can change. These are proposals from the staff.
Yeah, no, and never would I want someone to think, oh, we're fighting for that over our head. No way. Every day, you know, like we don't want anyone to lose their employment. I still don't have my head around the shift of why we had to go up there and even throw it on there. But you guys, the 4%.
It's the year-over-year
yes.
increase.
It
we're
seems to
trying.
me, John, someone made a comment, you guys said, okay. That's what it seems like.
From the environmental agent side of things, I think stopping recycling.
We're not stopping recycling.
It-
We're not stopping recycling. Just every other week. Yeah.
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 I mean,
Exactly, right?
it's-
And
You go buy more blue bags.
it is a mixed message between all the other
You go
stuff.
buy more blue bags and put it out once.
Yeah.
I get that it's a mixed message. And, I will say also, recycling now costs us more than trash.
Right, I know that.
That's
It's
'cause we're
cheaper-
recycling
It's
more.
cheaper.
Across the
It's
country.
cheaper to process trash now than it costs than it
Oh,
is to
just
process
per
recycling.
pound.
Per pound per
I
ton.
mean, most people put out one recycling bucket a week. You buy another bucket for $9.99 Home Depot, and you put it out every other week. I mean, we're not talking about earth-shattering changes, right?
No one's gonna pick it up the second week, no matter how many you buy. You can buy a blue bag every week, so people are gonna buy blue bags and put that recycle in.
No, I'm saying, but you put two buckets out every other week instead of one bucket out every week.
We're not limiting how much. We've never limited how
I've
much
already
you can
got,
put on.
I've already got
recycling.
like multiple trash cans of recycling because of the amount of cardboard.
Yeah, I
and
just think
shit,
it's
like,
bad
it just
messaging.
piles
You're
up.
right, if you have room to do that. A lot of people don't have room to do that. I just think, you know, it was yeah, I mean, I see the increase, it was
Yeah.
263.
For that, for
Can I clarify something?
Yeah, Wendy, please.
If you take 500 out, we're at 2.5% increase, just so you know.
Is that including the free cash math from last year?
Yes, it is.
yes.
Yes, it is.
Okay. And if you put the 160 back in, we're at what?
Give me a
Less than
second.
four.
If you put that on a
Yeah,
spreadsheet,
3.5. 3.5%.
I think that's where we came up with the original 320,000 or something. But
All right, I don't think there's any different message back. I mean, I think I like the idea of the breaking it out, making sure we have, I'll call it base, not level services to keep the lights on, and then the question becomes, you've got a path now for each entity to go back and cut. You've laid it out already.
right,
So it's not like then we could, like, the school's gonna lay it out.
the school's got to lay it out.
We've got to lay it out,
Yeah.
and, I mean, maybe, I'm sure there'll be flexibility in that, or maybe there wouldn't be, like, could you
'Cause the school-
choose to
the s-
change it, as long as you get to the number after the fact?
We don't. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Is our budget a bottom line budget?
mean,
or
we-
is it
No,
a line item budget?
Generally, the biggest thing we can cut to make changes to the budget are as employee costs, right? And so once you get into employee costs, the way we build our budget for employee costs is we start with manpower sheets. So we identify the number of bodies against the rate that they're gonna earn over the course of the year, do the math and
So
come
I
out.
get, but the question he's
So-
asking you.
So you don't, when you cut in the salary lines, you're actually cutting a body, you can't
No,
just
no,
cut
no,
a
but that's
piece
what,
of it. You
that's
have
what
to
he's
cut the
asking.
whole thing.
What he's asking you is if the override doesn't pass,
Yeah.
and we don't get
Is
$261,000.
this our menu,
okay?
or can we?
And-
have
No, no,
flexibility?
we
Can
would,
you
no,
change
no.
it up?
No, I would not recommend that.
You said, oh shit, we can afford the communications guy because we're saving
I would,
50 grand over here.
I would never
Like, you might have
recommend
other
that.
things
I
on
would
it.
never, there's, the
'Cause
only
people
way,
voted for it.
the only way you go to the voters with an override and ask them to save something is that you make sure you save that, and then if they say no, you don't return it.
Okay.
have
But
to be
most
honest with
people
voters.
don't lay out the services, they just say,
So-
they'll lose a dollar amount, and then
we're gonna
you
get-
then you have the ability to be
just so we're
flexible. I think
clear
what we're
then.
trying to do with the schools is show what you're losing, right?
Right. Well, they
And
have
then-
to for their
That's
message.
right. So they'll
I
be
get why
putting
they want
They just
they'll
have
do
a
the same
bottom
thing.
line, budget, they don't, I mean, they don't,
We,
I mean,
they
at
give us
least
a bottom
it's
line budget,
not,
but they give us a bottom line budget,
they
but they
have
have to equate,
They have
like,
pages and
X
pages of
amount of
backup.
thousands of dollars, it relates to X
Right, but-
position, so.
right, but they can change what they're
They
going
can.
to cut.
They can, but we
So-
can't.
Right. They can.
What?
They
They
can.
can.
Yeah, they can change, but
Right, exactly, that's what I'm saying. So if the override were to fail, then they could perhaps look over their budget again and decide that they don't need to cut so many staff, they could cut somewhere else. I mean, but that's them, I don't know.
I think.
correct. Yeah.
Or so you've asked us, what do we want from
What
them?
message do we want to give the school board and the?
We did. I think
Wenham?
in advance of going to that meeting, we should share the strategy. Like
What's our what percent? What year?
And then-
I want to see what year over year increase we have to our budget, which is the approach that Wenham took,
Yeah.
and that's how they got to their 5.4%.
Their budget doesn't line up with what they were saying in the meeting. Wendy and I have looked at that.
But fine, but just give me the year.
There's
over.
no
What is
way
ours?
there's no, if you did the math the way they explained it to our budget, we would need an override for $900,000 and the schools wouldn't need one. It was ridiculous. It
So
was like,
this is
that
where-
actually just doesn't make any sense.
So
No,
this is
it's-
the challenge. All right, so now like this is where it's sort of like you've got Wenham doing accounting the way they want to do it. The situation Rosie just explained as well with, well, the school just is a bottom line budget no matter what, and then we have us like kind of trying to do this forensic thing. So we've got apples, oranges, and bananas and giant fruit basket.
Welcome
right?
to municipal budget.
So, I know. Well, what I would like to request is that all three entities say, here's our basic services that keeps us at 2.5 or just
They
under
don't have, the
2.5.
schools don't have that. They said no. They're saying no. These
They're
are our big-
saying no.
They
what?
say we cannot cut. We're making them, forcing them to do that. They're not coming to us and volunteering that, Ben.
right. So
They're
saying their current budget is their
their
baseline budget.
philosophy or approach to the
is it what
budget is that
percent, like increase
They-
like
9%.
so they see the role differently than the way we see our roles. right? They.
Which is
from
fine.
the way-
I'm
the
just
way-
trying to understand
The way they perceive
math.
it, and
I'm just
the way they
trying to
explain it to
understand the
us.
math. Like of like they're saying, even if like, because what I'm understanding is that they're saying we can lose 6 or 7 people, and that equates to a 4% increase or something.
Yeah.
Like I'm just trying to understand like that is what they believe is their
No,
no. Okay.
no, they've already cut and they're still at 7.2% increase.
Right.
Well,
Right.
they cut $290,000.
That was that was the
correct?
most
the se-
recent one.
that was the second cut.
That was their
Was
second
that
cut.
the-
They'd made an early. They'd
Yeah.
made an earlier cut. So they're a total. I think they're around 690 or 700,000. That what they've cut from when they originally started doing their budget planning back in November and December.
Okay.
But they're still at 7%, upwards of 7% for Hamilton side of the assessment.
Okay. And then when we look at ours, like less this 500 grand, what's our percentage increase over our
I've got that
services?
down. We'll
gonna get that.
we'll get that. We'll bring that back to.
It feels like my ask would be that's just sort of, all right, this is where I don't really care where people started their budgeting process. What matters is where they are now, what their percentage increase is,
Yeah, year after
Year over year.
over year,
Right.
We
right?
pulled out a whole,
Right.
Right, so it's like
911
all
basket.
3 entities should say, these were the services we provided last year, these are the services we're providing this year, it represents this percentage increase. In order to get back to that level service would be this percentage increase, and all 3 parties should show that, and it's like, that's what. And we
Well,
should-
that's what we asked for. I mean, yes, that's what we asked for.
Right, and then Wenham said, we're not gonna do it that
They-
way.
They prefer not to.
What if they don't need to do it that way? Because they don't have,
Right.
they don't have a year-over-year increase that requires an override.
Have a year-over-year increase that requires.
I still really don't understand what it is they're doing.
So that's what I'm getting at, though, it sounds like they're doing something funny behind
No,
it.
that's not funny. They're taking this list right here that we came up with, and they're saying, we don't even want to put it in front of the town to add them back in. We're just gonna eliminate
we're
it.
just gonna
It's
eliminate
no different than
this
we're doing.
So
We can do
they're
the same
not
thing.
trying to
This time.
maintain a level service.
Right,
Right.
correct.
So they are decreasing their level of
Correct,
service.
yes.
That's how they're approaching it.
Yes,
Right.
and they can do that.
They can. Okay,
Yeah.
so that's their strategy then.
Yeah,
And then our strategy is we want to give the town the option to maintain a level service.
Right.
The challenge becomes that we're saying the level service as far as the school goes, though, is a 7.2% increase in their budget. And a level service for us is a 3.5% increase in our
we'll get the
budget.
numbers, but yeah.
Right, something like
Yeah,
that.
something like that, yeah.
And I think just having those,
Right.
that's it. Just that's the only ask is that those
Yeah.
numbers are clear to
Right.
that Wenham just kind of owns it and says, yeah, we're cutting services. Right, that's how we're getting around the.
We're not
2.5
gonna
override.
control, but yeah, I hear
Well,
you.
they don't have to say it. They can just, but it's just sort of like, oh, well, like show us the math, so that way at least we all know what's happening.
Right.
Right. But we already know, they already said their year after year is going up 4.49% or something like that. It was on that spreadsheet they gave us. You don't have it with you tonight, right?
Yeah. So then when we blend our payment, so when we look at like our level of service for our town, and then we look at the percentage of costs that we have to cover for the school district as a town, our percentage increase is what? 6%,
Whatever the
No,
revenue
it's not
increase.
6. Wait,
5%.
Wendy
something
just
like
said that if it's 2.5%.
3.5.
No, that was for
It
our
depends
services.
it depends if you include free cash or not. And if you don't talk apples to apples, it really does confuse the entire
Right.
calculation.
You have to include the free cash issue because if you don't include that, then you're really fucked up.
Okay.
Because the 520 is like 5% right there of our budget that we automatically are gonna ask for because we're not using free cash. So we immediately gotta ask for $520,000 more this year just to make up for the free cash we lose. And on top of that, we have the trash, the health insurance,
Yeah.
the,
Okay.
the step increase. And it gets up to like $900,000.
Well, I'm getting closer to understanding
Yeah.
that, but
So we're actually asking for $900,000 more than we had last year
yeah.
in the original budget. But now it's less than
We're
that.
trying to make it less than that.
Now it's more like 600 because of the free cash thing.
Okay.
That does skew things, but you can't ignore it.
And again, some of the stuff will change. We're gonna
Right.
talk to these employees next week about the insurance plan. Maybe we get some savings there that we can show in this budget, and that changes some things again, and we can. But but this is where we're thinking right now, is how we're trying to get to.
Yeah, I mean,
Oy.
All right, so
So real quick,
if you
before
want
we
me,
go, do you
call,
wanna look at the?
call me if you want me to, if you need something else, you want me to, but I'm supposed to bring all of our voices to the 5 chairs meeting, so, I'll do our best. The other thing I want to talk about that unfortunately left was the one warrant article that we haven't finalized, or maybe there's other ones too, Joe, but
Yeah, there's a
is
bunch
the,
of articles, so.
but is the one about, is the stretch code, okay? And so we talked about it a couple weeks ago or a month ago. We had some concerns about putting something onerous on our citizens that they might not be able to afford or may limit development or growth or construction in our town, right? So one of the things that we were asked to do was to look at sort of the cost. So he said he has some cost data. Unfortunately, we kind of got beyond it, but it was good to see that. So Joe, if we could get the cost data, he showed about the 15
Yeah.
houses that were
Said
built.
he emailed
Yeah,
us that.
we'll have
Okay.
HEIC, they emailed it to, he emailed it to
Okay.
you all
Okay.
today.
Okay.
We can have it on the agenda for full
Okay.
discussion at your next meeting. Up on the screen, you'll see that currently what we're tracking for warrant articles, and we're hoping that you will vote to close the warrant at your next meeting. So it's part of the reason I wanted to have this discussion tonight. But currently what we're showing you is that all of the articles that we know of at this moment for the upcoming annual town meeting, we have nothing right now in zoning. The planning board is meeting tomorrow night. I'll know for sure if that's gonna stay that way after I talk to Mark on Wednesday. But as of right now, they haven't identified a zoning amendment that they wanna tackle this year. So, the first section is your normal, regular elections, reports, and procedures. Then section 2, we're tracking compensation classification table, prior year bills, general and town school appropriations. That
That's
would
the
be
levy limit.
Levy limit, general and town school appropriations, that's the level service budget. Then capital, water enterprise budget, annual
What are
financial
we voting
actions.
for under capital?
We'll have that for you.
Oh, we are voting for capital.
We have
Okay,
capital.
okay.
Water enterprise budget, we presented in the
Yeah,
in the
okay.
budget meeting 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, the $900,000, yeah.
Annual financial actions, that's usually transfers to, in and out of various funds for conservation and different things. Hamilton Development Corp., the OPEB Trust Fund, which is a free cash spend, capital stabilization, which is a free cash spend, community preservation budget, and then the high school roof, that should be roof, not rude, high school roof replacement project. And then, other than financial
What's
actions.
community preservation budget?
Even though we don't have any requests for the Community
Yeah.
Preservation Committee this year,
Yeah.
you still have the money that's gonna come in and you have to set their budget.
Oh, okay.
So you have to put money in each of the 3 funds, and then you have to establish their operating budget.
Okay. We do that, do we do that every year? I
We
didn't
do
know.
that every year.
Okay.
And
We
then,
usually- Okay,
and then, sale of portions of the Patton Homestead, this is something that we're working on, we'll be giving you more information on, but, we're working on a plan to potentially sell the 3 buildings and about 4.8.9 acres of land to a nonprofit group that would operate the homestead as a combination of things, a partial museum and a place to run veteran services programs, like help with not like serious issues, not PTSD programs. They might provide some referral services for that, but they'd be doing, resume building.
Training, job training.
Job training, resume building, things like that. The group is already doing this work. They're known as the Patton Foundation. They already do this work at a facility at Sam Fort Houston in Texas. And so we're making some progress. I have to get an RFP together for them to respond to.
Are they the only interested party in it? Or is it?
So,
Just-
we'll bring the patent task force in to talk to the board at the next meeting. We've kind of gone around and around trying to figure out the way the gift was conveyed to the town in 2012 was that the town was going to do it to kind of protect the history of the Patton family and the town of Hamilton, and
Just like it's got restrictions
and
on it?
there's just, we aren't able to do certain things that this group would be able to do.
Is this
and
group
provides a
affiliated
cost
with the
center to-
Pattons? You
Yeah.
said it's the
Yeah,
Patton Foundation.
It's called the Patton Foundation. Helen Patton is on their board of directors. And, it's difficult for municipal government to do what that building really needs, and it really creates a cost center around the maintenance of those buildings for us. So if we conveyed that small part of the property, we could protect the rest of the property for the benefit of the community. The big open space, the connection to the river would all stay with us, and we'd be a neighbor to them, but they would operate the buildings and take that cost off of us going forward. Both the Hamilton Wenham Rod and Gun Club and the Miles River Marsh Rats, their leases for the property out at the end of Chabaco Road are coming up, so they need to be renewed. I met with both today. They're both requesting 20-year leases. Those are actions that have to be taken by annual town meeting, so we can talk about that. Specialized stretch code, and then the authorization for the Hamilton Wenham water treatment arrangement. That is still vague and being worked through, but Wenham has some needs around water treatment, and Hamilton has some needs to look to the future, so we are trying to work together. They need to address PFAS in their water, and we already do that. It could actually be cheaper for them to connect their raw water sources to the Hamilton plant and have us clean their water and send it back to them. And in that line,
Proximity-wise, how far away is our plant?
they're on the other side of Pleasant Pond from us.
Really? That's true.
I thought that we were getting toward max in our ability to pump out water. I
No, our
thought
plant's
that
big,
was-
our plant's big enough to pump up more water than we currently pump. We just don't have the right to take more water from the watershed.
Yeah, we're at our maximum limit for what we can take out of the watershed with this one town.
No, I know that. I thought one of the conversations that we had within the past month was thinking about updating our water treatment plant to make it perform better. No, okay.
No, our water treatment plant's performing better than it had prior to my getting here. The town had undertaken a lot of upgrades to the plant itself, and then we did the secondary treatment for the PFAS, and it's operating
So a
very
lot
well.
of things on here that have a lot to do in the next 2 months.
We got a lot to do in the next 2
I know,
months.
and you want to close it soon. Like, especially the patent one, that just seems aggressive.
Yeah.
What's
I
the
mean,
timing?
I thought when we started, it was like a long-term lease agreement versus a
So
sale.
the idea here would be that that 3-1 article would be an authorization by town meeting to authorize the select board and the town manager to pursue a deal. It wouldn't be the final deal, but we'll present to them it leaves it open enough for us to present to them where we're at in April, and then it gives the board the final say in conveyance after we get a deal that we want.
Okay.
But the task force includes the FinCom, the select board, a representative of the FinCom, representative of the select board, the users,
Who's on the board that's on it?
Rosie now.
Have you had meetings, Rosie, on that?
Yep.
I just
Yeah,
feel like we haven't
I'm
done any-
pretty excited about it, Bill.
Yeah, I just feel like I'm here, not for the first time, but we've had no updates. So it seems quick to go to April floor, to me. Not that it's not a bad path, but I feel like we haven't
If
been
you
informed.
want, we can talk, Bill, if
Yeah,
you'd
no, I
like
think we
more
gotta talk like
information.
as a group at the table on.
Right. I just think, I'm just thinking if you want more information before our next meeting,
Yeah, no, I'll
that's
give you a
all.
call. That'd be great.
On
course.
the next meeting too, it's like one of the things that we had talked about was having a developer come in and talk to the stretch code. And so I
Yeah.
talked to Tom Ford
Okay.
about it, so I wanted to maybe try and bring him or his brother to the next meeting so I can understand from that point of view, because once again, I'm fine with putting things in front of the town to vote. We're not making decisions for the town, but so it's like, yeah, the town votes it down, they vote it down, we're not voting it down. If we don't bring it to the town, then we've essentially blocked something from happening that may benefit the town by raising money to help improve properties in town, right? So I'm not sure that I'm totally in favor of it right now, but doesn't mean I want to not have the town at least vote on it, so.
The only thing that Emmett
Right,
just
true.
said as well on it was, he mentioned something around a 4,000 square foot building. I think that was new information, because that
Yeah.
didn't come up in the presentation last time.
If it's over 4,000 square feet, you need solar,
Yeah,
Okay,
or plant a tree.
so you don't need a
which,
That's what he said.
yeah.
Build
Don't
your house
build it
under a
under
tree.
a shade tree, is
Yeah.
it, well.
But I think it's important when we talk about this, the stretch code, that there are other issues. We can talk about potential upsides, and we can talk about the realistic financial expenses that people will incur as a result of this. So I think it's important that if we are going to present this to the town meeting, that we make sure we present it accurately.
Agreed, yeah. Get all the data and the facts and put it in the right way. But once again, we're told it's only new construction, it's not renovation.
Yeah.
It is also, it does include renovations.
Well,
It
it's-
includes, if you do a large-scale renovation, to my knowledge, it does include that.
Maybe if
It's
it
over a
was
certain size, it's a certain
16,000
percentage,
square
yeah,
foot,
it's a certain
then
percentage.
probably
Right, it's a substantial renovation.
commercial though.
And we know
Commercial,
that
not-
those go on here too. I think there are a whole of, I think I said this at the last meeting and I'll give a 10-second synopsis. I think that the first part of the green communities is wonderful. I think that this introduces a lot of mandates that maybe they're not mandates right this moment, but the state has the opportunity to change anything at any time. And I think we need to look carefully at it. I think realistically, we are maybe 5 years ahead of ourselves in terms of this. There are only 28 communities out of 351 communities that have voted for this. And that gives me a little pause, like what is this involved? What is involved in this? So I just want us to be careful.
How many meetings do we have between now and?
Town meeting?
Yeah, like, cause we got a lot to
You
talk
have 3
about.
scheduled.
3.
Well, you actually might have 4, there's one,
I'm not
you
gonna-
have one at the beginning of February.
I won't be able to make next week's meeting. I have to travel again, unfortunately.
We have
So-
a next week meeting?
Or not,
No,
the
2
2
weeks.
weeks, I mean, sorry, the next
No,
one.
no.
Tuesday the
'cause I wouldn't
20th,
be
Tuesday
there.
the 20th.
The
It's Tuesday the
17th.
20th.
Oh, is it? Tuesday the 17th.
I'm sorry, Tuesday the 17th,
Yeah.
correct. Tuesday the 17th.
I'm out of town that day, so I won't be here for, if we close the warrant, I will not be here, but
Is everybody else gonna be here? Do you wanna consider moving that meeting date? You could move it out a week.
What day is it?
It's Tuesday, February 17th,
I'm fine with moving it.
following. The
24th, Monday.
following Monday would be the 23rd. That would mean that you'd have 2 meetings back to back, the 23rd and 2nd, but at least it would give you time between then and give me time to get some more answers for you on some of those other articles that you just heard about for the first time tonight.
Yeah.
I don't think it matters to me. Whatever works for everybody else is fine.
I'd like to have the best chance to have all 5 of you here, so whatever works for the 5 of you works for me. I'll be here either way.
It looks all right to me so far.
For the 17th, for the 17th or
24th,
23rd?
your
For
third, you're
23rd,
saying, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
23rd
The
works
week
okay?
before that is school vacation week anyway.
Do you-
23rd.
Does the 23rd work for you, Ben?
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah.
23rd.
Because the week of the 17th was school vacation week.
Tom, does the 23rd work for you?
Yeah, I can do that.
Okay. But Bill, you want to
Yeah.
take a vote of the board just to confirm that you want to move the meeting? Yeah, I guess you don't have to.
I'm
take
gonna
a
make
vote.
a, we'll take
You
a
don't have to
vote.
You can do it.
Yeah.
All right.
Everybody's on record saying the 23rd is good. I'm gonna hold your feet to the fire.
Okay, okay, all right. We'll move that meeting to the 23rd, and then we'll let everybody know. That's good, that'll help us.
I think-
That'll help
Yeah,
me,
and I'll-
because
and
I
I'll-
have to get an RFP together.
Yeah, we got a
too,
lot
for
of
the
stuff
patent
to
thing
get done
anyway, so
before
there's a lot
that,
to
so
do.
give us 3 weeks to get people lined up from that meeting.
And I guess the question I have with the RFP is it sounds kind of like it's sole sourced, right? Like, I mean, at that point,
So,
we're not
so
looking at
there's a
multiple.
state process that we have to follow to sell
Okay.
property, and so that we can put an RFP out. The
Do we have to
question is, you can put
advertise
a-
or like?
It'll be advertised, and it'll have to be advertised for at least 2 weeks through state sources as well. But the important thing to keep in mind is that you can sell property and either just seek the highest price, or you can sell property and say, we want this property to do X, Y, or Z, and have the RFP reflect what you want that property to, how you want that property to perform. The guidance I'm getting so far from the task force is that that's the direction they want us to look at.
And who else is on it? So Rosie's on it with you?
Rosie's on it, John McGrath's on it, we have finance director, DPW director, members of the Patent and Homestead Foundation, with the Friends of Patent Homestead now, but they used to be Patent Homestead Inc. They've been working with the town since the town accepted the gift to try to help us find the best use for the property.
Okay.
So they've been involved with it, And I have the recreation director on because he's currently programming the space.
Yeah,
when
and
we
were
use
there,
it outside.
I mean, they gave it to the town to like look after it, basically. Is that the gist of it?
They gave it to the town to maintain it, and they made it a big gift to the town, and quite frankly, honestly, the gift's been great to the town, because we were able to separate off acreage and create Patton Ridge. Patton Ridge is one of the highest performing tax bases in the town for a condoed property. It does really well.
And
It
not a lot
helps us
of town, not a lot of town services pay for
Not
that.
a lot of town, well, you guys changed that, you give them trash after all. We wound up changing it anyway, but, so we're doing,
No snow plowing.
But the gift clearly defined future, like
yeah,
it's
and
future
it-
use. So I think we're, like, doesn't it go back to the family if we tried to change it to
So,
something
no,
else?
there's a percent, so if we try to sell it for anything else, the family gets to direct half of the benefit to another, to a charitable endeavor of their choosing. Our understanding is that, this sale could be eased by the fact that
It's a patent.
the Patton family would be, so they would just have to come with the half that they would have to give to us, and the Patton family's gonna let, that's what they've represented so far. So if.
So that
the
all
Patton
gets
family-
written down, and that's like becomes part of a deal.
Part of
and
the
that,
deal.
so that I just like I'm thinking back to other deals.
Oh, what
where
would they
we
would write
usually-
down half the amount?
Yeah.
But it would stay with use towards the wishes of the family. So
Right, and so that's why.
Exactly, Bill. That's exactly correct. It'll continue to fulfill the purposes of the original gift.
But why wouldn't-
So.
So that's why I'm not sure why half comes off, because
What I also don't
'Cause we only-
understand is like, why would
we get the half that we, so like, they would say that it gets valued at, so part of the process is that I have to have two appraisals done, and I have to put together an RFP for what we want the uses to be.
Yeah.
All right, that restricts their ability to do anything beyond that
Okay.
when they buy it, right? So that's gonna decrease the value, quote unquote, but it will target us toward the uses that the original gift were intended to create. So we're giving it to somebody that can do what we have not been able to do since 2012.
Yes.
and what are the buildings?
It'd be the main building where the town hall is currently located, and then the stable and the barn. Now, we are still currently storing some things there in the stable, and they've suggested that part of the deal would be that they'd be willing to lease back portions of that for us, for our use for a period of time, to help us continue to maintain the property and things like that, so.
is it? And this is like, sorry, this is the first time we've done something like this since I've been here. Like in terms of
Yeah.
like going to the town where we don't quite have a plan or a deal together yet, versus like having a deal and then having
So
the town vote.
the town
on the
has to
deal.
authorize a sale of property,
Right.
but they can do it subject to terms and conditions as set by the select board. So that's basically what we're thinking about doing. Or you can say, we want to make a report out to the annual town meeting on the floor at such and such a date, on April 11th, and then we will come back to a future town meeting special or whatever and get the authorization later. It would be more expedient to make the sale happen in calendar year '26 if we did it the first way, but you can obviously say, we need to do it the second way, it's your choice.
I think we should have both options on the table as we continue to learn more about this.
Yeah.
And it just,
Yep.
as
Gotcha.
much as the town seems to care a lot about what happens with each individual like property, especially something that's historic, it would seem as a part of like natural order that I'm witnessing that people would really want to have participate in that. You know, but I think we as a select board should keep both those options on the table as long as we can before taking it out of the hands of the town, based on what I've experienced so far.
Okay.
But I don't know if you all have been here longer than me, if this is better, if it's in keeping with the kind of natural order of things for us to make this decision.
I mean, I
don't
guess I'm
think it's
confused
a
what you're asking. To sell something, you don't need to know who's buying it. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah,
It seems
I'm
like it's
confused by it.
what I'm saying is that right now, it's a piece of land that's owned by the town.
Right, yeah.
And that the town's people seem to care a lot about what happens with
Some do, some
new
don't. yeah.
uses.
don't.
Some do and some don't.
Yeah.
I don't know. So if you,
We have some people that are more concerned about how much the town spends maintaining the property every
maintaining
year,
it,
and they
right.
want us to get rid of that cost center. So, but we just did this with the sale of the cell tower lease. We went out and said, does the select board have permission to sell? And would you extend it so that the select board could sell? And the town meeting said yes. They didn't know who the buyer was
They
gonna be
didn't
at
know
the
that was
time.
right.
Yeah.
We don't-
I
we don't
mean,
need-
like cell
right.
tower is probably a little different than
But we don't,
Homestead.
we never know who the buyer is when we authorize the sale,
Yeah.
ever. Because first you gotta authorize the sale, and then you make the deal.
But it depends. I mean, you guys, it sounds like you're a lot further down the path with this one buyer.
But that wouldn't be part of the vote, though. At town meeting, who the buyer was.
Right, but I think that's what he's leaving open.
I know,
Like,
that's what
are
I'm
we
saying, but I
doing
don't
the
know.
best
We've
thing
ever-
for
I
the
don't know
town,
that-
for the
But
family?
I don't think we've ever done it that way, so the question is, was it precedent? He's asking what precedent is. Precedent is we've never known the buyer when we authorize the sale.
Right. Right.
We could do it
It's
that
just
way.
a general
It's
authorization, right?
authorization to sell, right? We could do it that way. I'm not saying not do it that way, but you're asking the general question, what have we done in the past? We've never known the buyer when we authorize the sale.
Have we sold
Right,
buildings
it's
before?
just a general
I
authorization.
can't speak to that, it's
I don't
not in
think
the
we've
7
ever
years I've
sold
been here.
anything,
But
have
we
we?
sold, like properties, yeah. We sold like landlocked properties.
And did those go to town floor, or were they just?
Yeah, they
select
had to
board?
anytime,
Yeah,
yeah.
you had previously for a bunch of landlocked, you have a bunch of small piece
should-
of property.
yeah, I
And it goes out to a-
And
it goes to
you
auction.
authorize it back in, I don't remember what year it was, there was a town meeting vote to authorize a bunch of them, and the select board sold some of those off and on over the years. A couple times it's come up, hey, the neighbor wants to know if they could bid on this piece of property next to theirs, it's town owned. Well, we have to check, oh, it's been authorized, yeah, we can do it. Somebody recently came to us about a piece of property that hasn't previously been authorized, and we said, well, we have to go to town meeting first, and they're like, yeah, never mind. I thought, that would not go to
But it
town
sounded
meeting.
like when you guys started, you were saying you wanted to present this foundation and everything on the town floor. But now you're saying, no, we don't have to know or say who the buyer is.
I
We're gonna
think
just
we
say-
were, the task force has talked about, providing justification to town meeting, why we're recommending a sale and what our goals are. And so we could talk about this potential buyer. And by the time we get to April, the RFP will have been out and we will have a sense of if this is a viable thing. I mean, it's the type of thing where if it feels like it's falling apart, I'd say that we vote no action on town meeting floor and abandon it if it's not gonna work out. But if, to the extent that we can provide information at town meeting, I'm not opposed to that. But generally, all you're seeking is a general authorization by town meeting to authorize the select board to go forward and find a buyer.
But the lack of discussion at this level leading into April is a little bit.
Yeah, no, it seems,
troublesome
it
to
seems
me.
quick.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, you guys may feel differently because you're at meetings and stuff, but.
No, I get what
Oh,
you're
we
saying.
do? You know?
We met, we
We've
had an
never met.
opportunity.
In
no, no.
August, I think we said go make a force and then
No,
never
it
heard
seems,
go.
it seems quick, but once again, if we bring it to the town, if timing is important, if the RFP goes out, the buyer says, we have to find a spot before your next meeting, so we either have to buy this one or we have to buy another one, then we can decide if it's
The
or not to
lesson
bring it
is
to town.
we should have been talking about this 3-4 more
Yeah.
times prior to this date.
Right, yeah, no, not.
You
And
guys,
there's
I mean,
nothing
it
to
didn't
say
just
that
happen
this
overnight.
Couldn't this
right?
be a special town meeting if we really had to?
Yeah, we could do it as a special.
Yeah.
It might be the best thing. It sounds like Rosie's been on it. Looks like she's on it. I just want to talk about it as a group.
Yep.
Because no saying we couldn't do it in June or July or something like that. Not that we want to start lining out special meetings again.
Yeah, more, I can't believe, we don't wanna have.
I don't wanna do one
We don't wanna have any more
26.
special town meetings.
I think we had enough special town meetings last year to last us for the next 10
If
years.
we're gonna
So
do any, I wanna do it all in one. I don't wanna do multiples.
Right.
But Joe, if you tell us there's some timing crunch, I don't know what
Unless you
there is.
don't get the answer you want, right? No.
Wasn't me. That wasn't me.
I'm just.
don't start, Bill.
All right, we're all getting punchy. It's 10:10. Oh,
And,
sorry.
All right, do I have a
So
motion?
should we, should
Do I have a
I make a
motion?
motion?
Yes, please, Rosemary.
Yes.
Yeah, we're all packing it.
Yes, I make a motion that we adjourn.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Roll call vote, Rosemary,
Rosie Kennedy, aye.
Tom,
Tom Myers, aye.
Bill,
Bill Wilson, aye.
Ben.
Ben was I.
William Wilson, aye. Meeting's adjourned.